Hi guys and welcome to the 40,000 subscribers special. For this special I decided to do maximum core population tier list. I'm gonna rank every single country that exists in Hearts of Iron 4 right now. And this is gonna be incredibly long. I hope you don't get bored through it. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it and thank you for 40,000 subs. I also want to thank Vipes and Jerl for helping me discover all the maximum core populations. Well, at least I think we discovered all of them. If you do find that I was wrong about something, please tell me about that in the comments. I think we can begin. Here we are, this is the tier list. I'm using tiermaker.com. Shout out to Cartridge Studios for suggesting me this. And these are all the countries with their flags. Now you might be confused by some of these flags. I mean, this is obviously Bangladesh, this is Azerbaijan, but some of them are a little bit different because I picked, in my opinion, the coolest flag of the country. For example, for Bosnia I picked this one. By the way, Bosnia might be the only country which has a flag which is not fully transparent. I think even Nepal, yeah, even Nepal has like a full white square in the background. So we got tiers here. We got S+, S, A, B, C, D, E. I don't have F because I'm not an American and I won't put F because Americans were stupid at one point back in time. It's gonna be E. We got IMRO Tier, I'll get into this later. Devs can't code tier, and then we got this thing. It's actually so black you can't even read it. But if I select it, you can actually see what it says. It says Reddit in brackets coal. Let's start with this tier. So only two countries belong in this tier. This is the lowest pits of hell tier, and I'll have to find these two countries manually. Okay, I found them. So these are the two countries, East Germany and West Germany, and yes, this is the monarchist West Germany flag. So why is this the bottom tier? Well, both of these countries can't have any core population, and the only reason, the sole reason why this is the case, is Redditors. Annoying Redditors. I decided to put this at the bottom because Redditors are some of the worst people on earth. Basically, this has to do with the Yalta Conference rework. They were sawing and crying on Reddit about Yalta Conference being outdated, so Paradox listened to them and they reworked it. And now we never see East Germany and West Germany spawn again. Yes, the Germanys that do spawn often do use them as cosmetic tags, but real tag DDR and WGR are not present anymore. So they can't even be spawned, so their maximum core population is 0, and they're sitting at the bottom of the list with the rank 180. Next tier is Devs Can't Code tier, and this tier has only one single country, and that country is this one. This is Pashtunistan. Pashtunistan is a country in OE4 which was introduced with Graveyard of Empires, of course. This country doesn't have any starting cores and it can't be spawned without cheats. But it's supposed to release when you start with India split up preset. It releases it, but guess what? It has no cores to release in, so it just doesn't release. Its capital is in a lot of places in Algeria, and the only usage of it, as far as I'm aware, is as a cosmetic tag for one of the Afghanistan paths, which is so pointless. You don't have to actually introduce a new country just to use a cosmetic tag. Hell, there is a EUR or European Union cosmetic tag, but there is no EUR country. It's just a cosmetic tag. But that's the Juno dev team or the team that made Graveyard of Empire, Trial of Allegiance, and Battle for Bosporus for you. Anyway, this goes above because unlike Redditors, at least devs do something. And yes, once again, this country has the maximum core population of exactly 0. Moving on to the next tier, IMRO Tier. What is this tier about? Well, IMRO stands for International Macedonian Revolutionary Organization. Once again, for this we can thank our great Juno dev team. Basically, if you play as Bulgaria, it's actually possible to make Yugoslavia lose the core on Macedonia and make Greece lose the cores on Central Macedonia and Thrace, and make them core of Bulgaria instead. This initiates resistance, and then these countries are supposed to fight off the resistance or IMRO using their divisions and decisions. And when they do fight them back, Bulgaria loses the core and these countries get the core instead. However, if any other country owned these states at the time of Bulgaria initiating this, they as well can core these states: Macedonia, Central Macedonia, and Thrace. Now this was slightly nerfed in Gutar Damrong because Macedonia got split up into Macedonia and Devar, but it's still in the game. And these three states have combined population of 2,571,986. So in this category we have 26 countries total. First things first, we got 22 different Rice Commissariat. Man, I feel tired. Oh, I know a solution. Yeah. This is the only way. This video was sponsored by Monster. They're not giving me any money, but I'm sponsoring them regardless. Please start drinking Monster and get addicted to it just like me. Anyway, back to the video. Besides Rice Commissariats, this category also includes the Rice Protectorate Boom and Maren, as well as the General Government, which are basically just like Rice Commissariats. There's two more countries which fall into this category. First one is Italian East Africa. As we all know, that country is not supposed to core anything by design, but it can core those three states through the IMRO exploit. And there is another country which falls into this category, and the story with that country is actually very weird, and that's Jan Mayen. Jan Mayen is actually supposed to have a little bit more core population than these other countries, because it cores Jan Mayen. But the thing is, it actually doesn't core that island. It cores it, you release yourself as them, true, and then the moment you release yourself as Jan Mayen, you lose the core on the island. So you can't really core that island. So the maximum core population truly is just IMRO. Moving on to Tier E. Now, from Tier E and onwards, we start with countries which can actually core something other than those 3 states. And Tier E is the countries that can core less than 5 million people. Now, keep in mind, all of them can core IMRO as well. And since IMRO is like 2.7 million, these countries can really core up to 2.3 million people outside of IMRO states. So they're really bleak countries, but I'm gonna go through them anyway. At 178th place, we've got Nenetsia. Only state that can core outside of the IMRO states, it's the Nenetsia itself, with core population of only about 20,000 people, with their maximum core population of 2.59 million people. 177th place goes to the Itza nation. Very cool communist flag in my opinion. The only other state that they can core is Belize. This spot used to be shared with Belize, but then Belize got Central America formable. At 176th place we got the Netherlands Antilles. Despite literally being Netherlands Antilles, they cannot form Antilles, and the only state they core is the state of Curaçao. Fun fact, this country is called ABC Republic when it's not aligned, so yeah, a very funny name in my opinion. At 175th place we got our first interesting country, and that's Maldives. I shit you not, there is a method in which you can increase the core population as Maldives. If you start the game with Asia the colonized preset, Maldives get to own and core the state of Diego Garcia, which increases their core population by 2,000 people. At 174th place, we've got Sikkim. This is the princely state in India with the smallest maximum core population, with 100,000 people. Now, I wish they would add some Himalayas formable, but they still didn't add it. I don't know why. We could have cool Sikkim coring Nepal and Bhutan, maybe even Tibet, but we don't have that. At 173rd place, we got Cabo Verde or Cape Verde. This is a newer country added in Gotterdammerung, I believe. They only can core the state of Cape Verde with about 150,000 people. At 172nd place, we got Guinea. The only reason why Guinea is ranked so low is because Paradox won't fix their damn game. Guinea has only population of around 200,000 people in Hoi 4. Their population in reality was around 1.5 million people. Next country is the Gambia. Not Gambia, the Gambia. Self-explanatory, they can't core anything, and they have the small population just a little below 200,000 people. At the 170th place we got the Komi Republic. Unlike most of the countries in this tier, they core not 1, not 2, but 3 states. The funniest part about them is that their least populated state with only 20,000 people has 2 building slots, while their most populated state with over 100,000 people has only 1 building slot. 169th rank goes to Malta. Self-explanatory once again, all they core is Malta, and fun fact, their fascist name is called 10th Crusade. Still, I picked an online flag as I like the Sovereign Military Order of Malta flag more. The next place goes to United Inuit States. This is another one of the native countries that Chile can spawn. They have probably the most disconnected cores in the world, and although they can core 10 different states outside of IMRO ones, controlled by 5 different countries at the start of the game, they have very small population of only about 250,000 people, because they're in the far north. At 167th place, we've got Corsica. And yes, this means that Corsica alone has more people in 936 than all of those states combined. I like their funny flag though. At 166th place, we've got Macedonia. Fun fact, if I did this tier list like a year ago, this country would fall into the IMRO category. So yeah, the population of Debar itself is just how much more Macedonia can core compared to these countries in the IMRO tier. At 165th place, we've got Cyprus. Once again, same story. Just like with most of the countries, they have one starting core state and they can't core anything else. Now, one thing that Paradox could give to Cyprus is the Cradle of Civilization formable, because all the Cradle of Civilization countries also core Cyprus, but Cyprus can't actually form it. They should also expand Cradle of Civilization to Jordan, because come on, Jordan River, dude. Anyway, moving on. The next country is Trinidad and Tobago. Once again, exact same story, island nation which can be cored by others but can't core anyone else. Honestly, they should give Trinidad and Tobago and Netherlands Antilles, in my opinion, Antilles formable. Actually, if you check the game code, Trinidad doesn't have it, but Curaçao does have the ability to form Gran Colombia, and so does Guyana, but it's not made visible to them because Hoi 4 devs forgot about them, I guess. But yeah, in theory they could form it, but they just can't see the decision. 163rd place goes to Yucatan, which is the first country on this list which can have core population greater than 3 million people. And I don't get the point of this country anyway. I don't get the point of Rio Grande either. You don't release them in any paths or whatever. At least they could make Yucatan have the ability to form the Central America formable. But yeah, they didn't do that, I guess. Next country is Manipur. This is the second most pathetic princely state of India. By the way, fun fact, some border princely states, which are very far away from India itself, like Manipur or previously mentioned Sikkim, are not considered a part of Indian subcontinent. So if when you go for Asia decolonized, some of these princely states like Manipur or Sikkim get released, which I think is hilarious. But yeah, there's that. Next place goes to the nearby country of Bhutan. I think this is our very first starting nation in this list. There's only a couple of countries which have lower population, but all of those countries can tremendously increase it, unlike poor little Bhutan. Please, Paradox, give us the Himalayas formable. Speaking of neglected countries, the next country is Namibia. Although at one point they decided to split this country up from one state into 4 different states, they never bothered to actually give it Zimbabwe Empire formable. Hell, even the new country of Barotseland can do it, but Namibia, yeah, Namibia can't. Rip Namibia. The next country on the list is Guinea-Bissau. This country is one of the rare countries which has communism as a starting ideology. Anyway, this is another one of the interesting countries. Just like Maldives, you can have a little bit extra core population. If you start the game with Africa decolonized, Guinea-Bissau will be obviously released, just like with the other African countries, but more importantly, Cape Verde is going to be owned by Cape Verde, but it's actually going to be core by Guinea-Bissau as well. That's because back in the day before Götterdämmerung, Guinea-Bissau would also be released in Cape Verde and would core it. I actually did war conquest with this country and I used this to have a little bit more core population and to get like 10 extra factories or whatever. At 158th place, we've got Herzegovina. This is yet another one of the neglected countries because unlike the other nations instead of the Austria-Hungary, like for example Bosnia, Croatia, Slovenia, even Slovakia and Transylvania, this country cannot form Austria-Hungary. I remember back in the day when the Hungary DLC came out, not this one but the first one, Austria-Hungary wouldn't actually core Herzegovina, and then at some point they fixed it, but they never fixed Herzegovina not being able to form Austria-Hungary, so please Paradox fix this. This tier should be called Neglected by Devs tier. On the 157th place we got the nearby Kosovo. This country has a very funny communist flag. In my opinion, this country shouldn't even exist in HOI 4. Don't get me wrong, I'm not pro-Serbia shill. I couldn't be any more anti-Serbia, honestly. It shouldn't really exist in 1930s, especially not with the modern flag. The same case goes to Bosnian flag, which wasn't even a thing until 1995. Another fun fact about this country, if you dig through the game files and find a history file with all the tags defined, you won't be able to find Kosovo, because for whatever reason, Kosovo is declared in a different folder. Maybe it has to do something with Serbia. Maybe in Serbia, when you install HOI 4, there is no Kosovo. Could be. And it's the only country which has this property. I don't know why. At 156th place, we've got Liberia. I think this is our second starting nation of the run. Once again, small population, can't core anything extra. That's about it. It also doesn't help the fact that they have one of the least populated states in West Africa, but at least they got their leader's portrait like 5 years ago. I think that's the only content ever added to Liberia anyway. Our next country is another starting nation. Can you guess which country this is? This is Mongolia's no-line flag. Now, yes, I know, you know, everyone knows that when the next DLC comes out in a couple of days, Mongolia will have bigger maximum core population. Hell, if I'm late with this video, DLC maybe even came out. At 154th place, we got another country starting with M, which is Montenegro. In my opinion, this population is wrong. Today, there is 600,000 people in Montenegro. Back in the day, there was about 300,000 to 400,000. Guess what's the population of Montenegro in HOI 4? 900,000. Montenegro states used to include some parts of Kosovo and Macedonia. Their population was 900,000 people because truly there was 900,000 people in those regions. Later on, they shrink the Montenegro state, but they never updated their population, so now Montenegro has way more people than they actually do. The next country on the list is this one, and I picked the fascist flag because I think it represents them the best. So yeah, only state they core is Palestine, which has a core population of around 900,000 people, and they can't core anything else, luckily. So yeah, 153rd place goes to the questionable country in question. Oh, what does sejozwak mean by this, guys? This is not hacking Chungus! The next place goes to Sokoto Caliphate. This country cores northern Nigeria as well as the southwest Niger. Sadly, they don't core the southern Sahara state in Niger, which has 1.5 million people. This is the first country in the list which can core more than 1 million people outside of the IMRO states. Honestly, once again, because of the Paradox devs, this country has way less people than it actually should have. According to HOI 4 devs, about 97% of Nigeria's population lives in the southwestern state, which is not true. The next place goes to Togo. Pretty self-explanatory. They have one state with about 1.1 million people, and they can also core the IMRO states. Although it would be cool if they would add Togoland state in Ghana, which Togo could core. At 150th place, we got two countries. First one is the Republic of Cayenne, or basically the French Guiana, and the second one is Suriname. They have identical maximum core population, which they can achieve by forming the United Guianas formable and also coring the IMRO states. Now I might be thinking, wait a minute, why is Guyana not here? Guyana is sitting one rank above, at 149th place, because if you start the game with America as the colonized preset, for whatever reason, Guyana gets to own and core Falkland Islands, South Georgia, as well as Pitcairn Island. Next up, we've got Biafra. Once again, they have way less people that they actually have, and another thing that HOI4 did towards Biafra is that their starting ideology is democratic. They don't have a democratic leader, but they do have a non-aligned leader, a woman actually, and yeah, they start as democratic, unlike Sokoto, which at least starts aligned with their custom leader who has its own traits. Next country is Laos. And yes, I know I'm supposed to say Lao, I'm supposed to say Kiribati, but guess what? No one says Bosnia. Everyone says Bosnia. It's Bosna, but no, people say Bosnia. And that's okay. It's the English word for the country. I won't say Lao. It's Laos for me. Sadly, they cannot form Ratanakosin Empire, and they have only about 1.2 million people. Next country on the list is Northern Ireland. The tale is all as time. They have one starting core state, they can't core anything else. That's about it. Also, one funny thing about this country, you know the city of Derry / Londonderry. If the UK owns it, it's Londonderry. If Ireland owns it, it's Derry. But if Northern Ireland owns it, it's Buggy. Sometimes it gets renamed to Derry, sometimes it stays Londonderry. And it's random. It's literally random. It's so broken. Next country on the list is Dahomey. In my opinion, they have a really cool looking fascist flag. Once again, they just score one state, and that's it. Nothing special about them. Next country on the list is Papua New Guinea. This country cores the east side of Papua Island and also the state of Bismarck. Sadly, to this day, it's not possible for this country to core West Papua. I wish they would either start by coring it or have a decision to core it or something, but yeah, they sadly can't. And yeah, that's about it. Our next country is the Nahua Nation. This is another one of those countries that Chile can release through Mapuche path. They can only core El Salvador as well as the IMRO states. And they are the first country on our list which can have maximum core population over 4 million people. Which means we're gonna be finally done with this tier. Next country is the Mosquito Nation. Once again, this is another native country that Chile can release through Mapuche path, and they can core Honduras and Nicaragua. Also, for whatever reason, their capital moves to Bluefield and it adds 4 victory points to it. The other way you can get this country, just like any other native nation, is through the Americas the Imperialized preset. If you actually do that and then still go to Mapuche path as Chile, which is possible, you can make Bluefields a 9 victory point city. The next country in the list is the European country of Navarra, or well, the Basque country. Besides the IMRO states, they start by coring 3 Basque states in France and Spain with a population of around 1.5 million people. At 140th place, we've got Malawi. Unfortunately, they can't form any formable, and their core population isn't that impressive. Fun fact, although small, this country has more people than whole Zambia. The next country on the list is Senegal. Fun fact, in the early days of HOI4, pretty much the entirety of French West Africa was one state of French West Africa. The only 2 states that were actually exception to this in French West Africa were Senegal and Mauritania. Also, you couldn't go through Mauritanian coast, it was impossible. You'd have to go through Egypt if you wanted to push into Africa. So yeah, there is that. Yeah, Senegal sadly can't core anything else. I wish they could form Senegambia at least. But yeah. The next place goes to another princely Indian state, and that's Kohalpur and Deccan states. Now, it only has a population of around 1.7 million people. I refuse to believe that there's so few people in that part of India, but maybe there are. I'm not really sure. Anyway, they have a really cool non-aligned flag. I love these flags, which have nothing on them. Next place, we got 2 countries, Balochistan and Kalat. These 2 countries have only 55 more people than this state does. Anyway, when it comes to Balochistan, it's simple. They core a couple of states, and that's it, they can core the IMRO states. Kalat, on the other hand, is a little bit different. You see, Kalat only cores one single state, which is also cored by Balochistan, the state of Kalat. But if Afghanistan finishes the focus ally the Brahui Khanate, Kalat gets to inherit all of the Balochistan cores, which means that at the end of the day, they have exact same maximum core population. Next country is the Charrua Nation. Once again, it's one of those native countries that Chile can release. They only core Uruguay, and their flag is very similar to that of Uruguay. I assume Uruguay's flag was inspired by this. Next country on the list is Sierra Leone. Just like most of the West African nations, they can't core anything else other than their starting state. At least they got a cool flag though. And yeah, in one of the recent updates, they got fuck ton of steel. The next country on the list is the pointless nation of Rio Grande. They core the 2 states of Coahuila and Tamaulipas in Mexico. Texas is on the other side of the Rio Grande River. I'm just saying, maybe they should core Texas too, or have an ability to core it. I don't know. It will be funny. Next on the list is the mighty Albania. The greatest sin Hoi 4 devs did to Albania was that they never added Illyria formable. Hell, they never even added the Greater Albania formable. I want to form a Greater Albania, man, come on. Almost as if I'm not supposed to play as this glorious nation. Anyway, besides the starting states and IMRO states, Albania can also core the states of Debar in Macedonia as well as the state of Kosovo. But they can't do it themselves. Instead, Italy has to do it for them. Basically, Italy has to go for the right path and they have to go for foreign affairs. If they annex Albania, they'll be able to establish the Reino d'Albania through decision. This spawns Albania as their puppet, makes them fascist, gives them a national spirit, influx of Italian settlers, which has a really good plus 30% supply hub construction speed buff, and also gives Albania cores on Debar and Kosovo. And Albania ends up having nice looking cores with only 4.5 million core population. The next country is even better than Albania, and that's Niger. My favorite country in Hearts of Iron 4. 3/4 of its population live in an impassable state of Southern Sahara, and you can just randomly lose it after any war to United Kingdom or France because of the buggy, impossible states in Hoi 4. Imagine just losing 75% of your population like that. Anyway, I think their maximum core population is self-explanatory as well. Anyway, at 131st place, we've got Kashubia. Once again, self-explanatory. They start by coring the 3 states, 1 in Germany and 2 in Poland, and that's it. Nothing special about this country. And the last country in this tier, or should I say the first one, is Galicia. Not the one in Poland, but the one in Spain. Galicia can't core anything else other than its starting state, and yeah, this is where this tier ends. We're now moving on to D tier. In this category, we got all the countries which have core population ranging between 5 and 10 million people. The first country in this list is Quebec. At the start of the game, they core, you guessed it, Quebec. I wish they could core Labrador somehow, or maybe even Newfoundland. Also, it's crazy for how long did this country not even exist in the game. I think it was only added with Trial of Allegiance, yeah. Next up, we got another country with a cool flag, and that's Moldova. Ironically enough, Moldova doesn't core Moldova. Also, fun fact about Moldova, Moldova is the only country in the game which has these bugged advisor names. This was the case until this new DLC came out. I'm still playing on the older version here, but yeah, in this newer version there's quite a few countries with such bugs. You know, polished and bug-tested release as always by Paradox. Good job, Paradox. At 127th place, we've got Tuscany, or Toscana. They only core the state of Tuscany and they can't core anything else other than IMRO states. Which is a shame because it's one of those base countries. I should have went for their fascist plaque because it has the Etruscan symbolism on it. Next up, we've got Ghana. Once again, it's one of those countries that can't core anything else other than their starting state. Besides that, their country has a cool color in my opinion, and they also have a hidden democratic leader, which you don't know about probably, which can actually become a leader of Congo, I think. Next country is the Welsh Argentina, or Ivladfag Gimrich. I mispronounced that, but I don't care. This country starts by coring 4 states in southern Argentina, and it can core Wales. Fun fact, this might be the only country in Hoi 4 which doesn't have any flags other than its default flag. That's why when you go communist, fascist, or democratic, or whichever ideology, you always have exact same flag. Because the poor mother that made the Trial of Allegiance didn't add any other flags. This can't be good for me, but I feel great. Who guesses how many monsters I drank during the making of this special will get a free monster when he meets me IRL. At 123rd place, we got the glorious Mali. Same story as Ghana, same story as Togo, as Dahomey. West African country which can't core anything else. I just noticed something. My list is missing Upper Volta. I know that Upper Volta and Mali have a very similar population, and I'm like, where the hell is Upper Volta? And yeah, I didn't go for their no-aligned flag to stop the confusion, you know, but now thinking about it, I should have done it. It would be funnier. So yeah, their maximum core population is right between Ghana and Welsh Argentina. Sorry for that. Anyway, moving on to 122nd place. Finally, something interesting. This place is shared by 5 different countries, and those countries are Abkhazia, Chechnya Ingushetia, Dagestan, Kabardino-Balkaria, as well as the North Ossetia Alania. All these countries can do the United Mountainous Republic's decision and form the Mountainous Republic of the Northern Caucasus formable, which cores all 5 of these states, and on top of that also cores the state of Sochi, which gives them the core population of about 3.75 million people, which means that for IMRO they have core population of about 6.3 million people. The next country is also interesting, and that country is Brittany. Brittany only cores the state of Brittany at the start of the game, but if Germany goes monarchist and if they go for establish Western Grand Duchies focus, they'll be able to establish a Grand Breton state through a decision. This will spawn Brittany as their personal union, and Brittany is gonna own and core not just Brittany, but also the state of Loire. On 120th place, we've got Côte d'Ivoire, or Ivory Coast. Just like almost any other West African country, it's their starting core population plus the IMRO states, and I got the great news for you. This is the most populated country in West Africa other than Nigeria, and we won't be hearing from West African countries in a while. Next country, which has only about 1 million more maximum core population than Ivory Coast, is Kalmykia. At the start of the game, Kalmykia only cores the state of Kalmykia with only 170,000 people. I mean, the region that Kalmykia is in is pretty unpopulated and desolate, but this state itself is like one of the least populated ones as well. To get their maximum core population, Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan have to recreate the Transcaucasian Federation, and if they're not aligned or fascist, they'll be able to restore the Kalmyk Khanate. Now, usually this just spawns Kalmykia as a puppet in Kalmykia and Astrakhan, but if the country controls even more land, they'll be able to spawn Kalmykia in even more states, giving them more cores. The most they can get is this. Combined with IMRO states, they can have core population of about 6.42 million people. The next country is Tibet. Tibet is very straightforward. All they have to do is conquer the state of Xikang, which is also core by them, and it's owned by China at the start of the game. Combined with IMRO states, they have a core population of about 6.667 million people. 6-7. And yeah, they also have a very cool democratic flag. Next country is Mongolia, if it wasn't shit. Of course, I'm referring to Menguko. To get the maximum cores as Menguko, you just have to conquer the states of Suiwan and Nordos, owned by Shangji at the start of the game, and of course do the IMRO decisions. By the way, fun fact, I forgot to mention it, Mongolia can actually core both of the Menguko states if Soviet Union finishes the End the Khalkhin-Gol conflict focus. Yeah, by the way, Menguko's capital is the only victory point that's worth 4 victory points in the game. Anyway, I started yapping again. Let's move on to 116th place, which goes to Ireland. To get the maximum possible cores as Ireland, you simply have to conquer Northern Ireland and get the IMRO cores. Sadly, there is no Celtic formable to this day. I had a Mandela effect at one point, remembering that it was in the game and then removed, but I know that it wasn't in the game. I think there is a Celtic formable in Road to 56, but I'm not sure. I never really played that mod. Next country is Serbia. Serbia is self-explanatory. Starting cores in the 6 states that they core, plus the IMRO states. They end up having core population of about 6.81 million people. And not such a fun fact about Serbia, their Democratic Party is Mihailovic Chetniks. Nice one, Paradox. If you don't understand the ramifications of this, just imagine that Mussolini was democratic. Or maybe even this guy. Next up, we've got Kashmir. Kashmir cores the 2 states of Kashmir and Northern Kashmir. Before this DLC, both the Kashmir and Northern Kashmir were cored by India. But when it comes to Pakistan, they only cored Northern Kashmir but had a claim on Kashmir. But right now, Pakistan still has a core on the northern one and claim on the southern one. Meanwhile, India doesn't core any of them. They only claim both of them, so neither India nor Pakistan claim the southern Kashmir. By the way, another fun fact about Kashmir, their definitive flag is actually the flag of Kashubia, because some developer made a mistake. They thought the tag of Kashubia is KAS, not KSH. So when you see Kashmir divisions walking around, they actually have a Kashubia flag. Anyway, the maximum core population is 6.84 million people. Next country is Sindh. Another princely state. They only core the state of Sindh, and that's about it. I have no idea what's with the axe and Sindh, but yeah, every single one of their flags has an axe on it. They're also one of the few princely states which are cored by British Raj at the start of the game. 112th place goes to Madagascar, and this one's interesting. At the start of the game, Madagascar doesn't only core Madagascar, but also Comoro Islands and Reunion. But if you start the game with Africa the colonized preset, they also get to core Seychelles, Mauritius, and most importantly, Kerguelen. With IMRO states, Madagascar has the maximum core population of about 7.11 million people. Next country is the Maya state. This is another one of those countries created by Chile going Mapuche path, or through America the imperialized preset. They can core Guatemala, as well as the Mexican states of Yucatan, Chiapas, and Oaxaca, which are home to about 4.5 million people. Combining this with IMRO states gives the maximum core population of 7.25 million people. The next country is the Northwest Frontier states. This is another princely state, which cores 2 states, Peshawar and Waziristan. Waziristan is that one state which has 70% resistance at the start of the game, and Peshawar is that one state which has almost 5 million people but 0 building slots. They can core anything else other than IMRO states, so their maximum core population is 7.48 million people. Next country on the list is the Don Kozak host. There's two ways you can spawn this country. You can spawn this country if you fragment the Soviet Union through game rules, but in order for them to get the maximum possible cores, you have to play as Bermontian Poland. If you finish the focus, complete the Bermontian mission, while having Pavel Bermont Avalov as your country leader, you'll be able to restore the Don Republic through decision. This country has the funniest prefix ever. Anyway, they core these states, which means their maximum core population is 7.81 million people. 108th place goes to Cambodia. This one is self-explanatory. They only core Cambodia, they can't form Ratanakosian Empire, sadly. And yeah, fun fact about Cambodia, their communist leader is Pol Pot, who was 10 years old at the start of the game. And it's raining outside. Yay! Anyway, next country on the list is Belize. Belize has a very pathetic core population of only 50,000 people at the start of the game. However, they can reconstitute the Federal Republic. With that and IMRO, they have the maximum core population of 7.88 million people. Next country is Sri Lanka. Self-explanatory, they only core the state of Ceylon, and they can also core the IMRO states. Nothing special about them at all. Next on the list is Nepal. Believe it or not, Nepal has a little bit more people than Sri Lanka. Once again, they can't core anything else other than the IMRO states, and they have the maximum core population of 8.15 million people. 104th place is shared by 5 countries, and those countries are Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. I might be thinking, wait a minute, why do these countries have more core population than Belize? Can they all just reconstitute the Federal Republic? Yeah, they can, except these countries can incorporate Panama and the Republic of Yucatan, which for whatever reason HOI4Devs didn't make available to Belize. This lets them core about another extra million core population, with maximum core population of 8.83 million. And we reached the very first country which has its own focus tree. Can you guess which one it is? That's right. It's Australia. It's often referred to as one of the 3 countries which has its own focus tree but can't get any extra cores. Sorry to break it to you, but that's a lie. They can actually core some extra stuff, other than IMRO states, of course. If you start the game with Age at the Colonized preset, Australia gets to own and core Christmas Island as well as the Cocos Islands at the start of the game. Christmas Island is home to about 1,500 people, while Cocos Islands, I shit you not, 42 people live here. Anyway, they can also core IMRO states, and they have maximum core population of 9.12 million people. Next country is another princely state, and that's Mysore. At the start of the game, they only core the state of Mysore with about 6.5 million people. Fun fact, the state of Mysore is the only state in British Raj which has not 1, not 2, but 3 urban provinces. Anyway, with IMRO, they can core up to 9.13 million people. 101st place we got Sardinia and Piemonte. This one's interesting, because at the start of the game you only core the states of Sardinia and Piemonte. They also have a claim on Savoy, but they can actually core some extra stuff. If Hungary goes monarchist and if they invite Otto to the throne, they get access to the focus called Reverse the Risorgimento. And if Hungary or one of their puppets controls these states when they finish the focus, then Sardinia and Piemonte will spawn in these states and they'll own them and core them. With IMRO states they can core up to 9.56 million people. And we reach the top rank of this tier. 100th place. This place is shared between 9 countries. And those countries are Melanesian Federation, Federated States of Micronesia, Mariana Federation, Kingdom of Hawaii, New Zealand, which is our second country which has its own focus tree, by the way, Kingdom of Rapa Nui, Independent State of Samoa, not Croatia, Solomon Islands, and of course Tahiti, which by the way have a woman as a starting leader. I know, you. Anyway, all of these countries can unite Polynesia through decision. Combined with the IMRO states, they can have core population of 9.83 million people. That's it for the D tier. We're now moving into C tier, with maximum core population up to 25 million people. Now it starts to get interesting. First country in this tier is Madras states. We only core 1 state of Madras states, and honestly I have no idea how did they fit 7.5 million people in such a small state. But yeah, with IMRO states they have just above 10 million people, sitting at 10.18 million maximum core population. At 98th place we've got Scotland. For Scotland to get its maximum possible cores, Germany has to go monarchist. Once again, they have to finish the established Western Grand Duchies focus, which lets them establish a greater Scottish state. Through this decision, Scotland can core Cumbria, Northumberland, as well as the Isle of Man, with maximum core population of 10.2 million people. Next up, we've got the Guarani Nation. This is another one of those native countries which can be spawned by Chile if they go for the Mapuche path, or if you start with the Americas, the Imperialized preset. They can core entire Paraguay, as well as the Argentinian states of Región Mesopotamica and Formosa, and the Brazilian states of Rio Grande Grande do Sul, Parana, Santa Catarina, and Punta Pora. Combining this with IMRO states lets them have core population of 10.62 million people. The 96th place is shared by 5 countries, and those countries are Bashkortostan, Chuvashia, Mariel, Tatarstan, as well as Udmurtia. These countries are very interesting. For example, Mariel is called Realm of the Great God of Light when they're fascist, because of their schizo religion, and Udmurtia is a home place of AK-47. However, they all have the same maximum core population. They can all achieve the melee Majlis streams. This lets them form Middle Ural and basically lets them core each other, and then they look something like a weird-ass Ukraine in Trans-Volga. Combining this with IMRO lets them have maximum core population of 10.79 million people. On the 94th place, we've got Burma. This one's straightforward, just the starting course and also IMRO. By the way, fun fact, this country has core population of about 8.5 million people, but before the mess that was Graveyard of Empires, it had about 13 million. To this day, however, Paradox never fixed this. Besides that, this country is riddled with bugs. And just like with the other 5 countries that were introduced in Graveyard of Empire starting ages for whatever stupid reason, these countries can't get rid of their cosmetic tag. They're stuck as being British Burma for the rest of the game, pretty much. Anyway, this country was supposed to have its secret focus tree in Graveyard of Empires, as far as I'm aware, since it's the only country which actually got 5 new portraits. They have a leader for every single ideology, and they even have a second leader for democratic ideology, which you can have if you start with Asia the Colonized preset. Another funny thing, when you start with Asia the Colonized, Kuwait still doesn't get its own cosmetic tag. Bruh. So yeah, their maximum core population is 11.2 million people. 93rd place goes to the Papal States. Pretty straightforward. They core the states of Lazio, Abruzzo, and Emilia-Romagna to start the game. By the way, fun fact, Lazio is the least populated one of the 3. By the way, another fun fact, before Italy rework, Lazio was the least populated state in Italy, if you would exclude Sardinia, the island state, as well as the 2 contested states, South Tyrol core by Austria and Istria core by Yugoslavia, Slovenia, and Croatia. Lazio is really desolate outside of Rome. Anyway, the maximum core population is 11.54 million people. Next up, we've got the Inca Empire, the country that I did the war conquest as. You can literally make Augusto Pinochet leader of Inca Empire, and yeah, I did a war conquest as him. There's actually 3 ways you can spawn this country. You can go for America as the imperialized, crusade against imperialism, or well, Mapuche path as Chile, or you can go for Kingdom of Araucania path, and the focus satellite kingdoms will let you spawn Inca Empire. That's the only way you can get Augusto Pinochet as the country leader. Anyway, they core the entire Peru and Ecuador, as well as the parts of Chile and Brazil, with a maximum core population of 12.09 million people. Next country on the list is Belarus, and this one is a bit tragic, because right now Belarus only cores the modern day Belarus, as well as the state of Bialystok in Poland, and besides that they can also core the IMRO states. But back in the day before Götterdämmerung, if Germany would form Ostland, that Ostland was actually just Belarus with a different cosmetic tag, and they would core entirety of the Baltics as well, except for Memel. Sadly, that's no longer the case, and their maximum core population is only 12.59 million people. Next country is the West Indian states. Another one of the princely states. They only core the state of Gujarat at the start of the game, with 10.5 million people, with a maximum core population of 13.07 million. The 94th place goes to 8 countries, and those are Bahamas, British Antilles, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Guadeloupe, Haiti, Jamaica, and of course Puerto Rico. Some nice flags, by the way. Fun fact about Cuba, they reworked its flags and name some time ago. When it was not aligned, it was called, I think, Neo-Anarchist Cuba or something like that. Now it's just Republic of Cuba and it's boring. Anyway, all of these countries have the same maximum cores. Basically, you have to unite the Antilles, after which they can integrate Trinidad and Tobago as well as the Netherlands Antilles. Formable in its own has about 11 million people, and with IMRO they can have maximum core population of 13.53 million. The next country is Bolivia. Fun fact, Haiti has exactly 1001 person more than Bolivia at the start of the game, but Bolivia has slightly bigger maximum core population, and they achieve it by reviving the confederation with Peru. This lets them have the maximum core population of 13.91 million people. Next up we have the Istmo-Amerindian state. This is another one of those native countries spawned in by Chile. It's kind of like a slightly nerfed Gran Colombia, as they don't core part of Venezuela and Peru and also entire Ecuador, but they do core Costa Rica and they do core Trinidad and Tobago. Anyway, the maximum core population is 14.99 million people. I just realized I made another mistake award. Yay! I forgot about the Kuban host. But I didn't forget about it, I just didn't sort the numbers properly. Kuban host is supposed to be right after Burma. You spawn Kuban host just like you spawn don't host. Kuban host is actually slightly bugged, because for some reason they do core, but they don't spawn in the states of Crimea, Kabardino-Balkaria, North Ossetia, as well as Chechnya and Ingushetia. They also have the almighty prefix, Shirk of Iron 4 by the way, with maximum core population of 11.11 million. On the 86th place, we've got the Two Sicilies. Just like with Sardinia Piedmont, the Two Sicilies can get a little bit extra cores if Hungary goes for reverse the Risorgimento focus. Basically, if they control Malta, the Two Sicilies can actually core Malta as well, with a maximum core population of 15.35 million people. Next country is Rajputana. At the start of the game, they core the states of Rajasthan as well as Bahawalpur. And yeah, that's about it. Their maximum core population is 15.35 million. Next country is the Philippines. Wow Wow used to live here. Thank God he no longer does. Philippines starts with 13.1 million and they can only core IMRO states. Yes, I know, when the DLC comes out, they'll be able to core more stuff. But yeah, right now they're in the C category with a maximum core population of 15.68 million. Next up, we've got the Central Indian princely states. They core 2 states in India, and they can core IMRO states with a maximum core population of 15.73 million. I'm very hungry right now. It's 3 in the morning. I might make myself some food now. I never do this, but this is an extraordinary situation where I have ate almost nothing today and I'm living on 2 monsters and a bag of barbecue flavored chips. Fuck it. Let's keep going. Yeah, next country is Hyderabad. Another princely state. They only core the state of Hyderabad with about 13.4 million people, and their maximum core population is 15.68 million. Fun fact, Hyderabad can actually be cored by Pakistan. I mean, it makes sense. Even today, half of Hyderabad's population are Muslims. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, which rights commissariat is this? It's not a rights commissariat, this is fascist Occitanian flag, which cores almost the entirety of southern France, except for the French Basque country. And yeah, they can also core the IMRO states with a maximum core population of 16.51 million. On the 80th place, we got 4 countries, and those are Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, and no, I won't say Panama, fuck off, and Venezuela. I really wonder which formable can these 4 form. Yeah, if they form it, they end up having the core population of 16.88 million. By the way, fun fact, Colombia alone has more people than these 3 combined. So when you play as Colombia and do the formable, you don't even double your core population. The formable is also available to Guyana and Netherlands and Antilles, as I mentioned before, but not visible to them for whatever reason, so yeah, there is that. There is a slim hope of them fixing this. This was an issue with some countries being unable to form Arabia, but then they made it available to them as well. 79th spot is also shared between 3 countries, and those are Armenia. By the way, cool flag. Sadly, you can see the whole flag, the sides are cropped. Azerbaijan, and also Georgia. To get the maximum possible cores, you have to recreate the Transcaucasian Federation, integrate the Northern Caucasus, and do claims in Anatolia. And in case of Georgia and Armenia, you also have to reunite the Azeri diaspora. Azerbaijan doesn't have to do this decision. They already have the starting cores there. Anyway, their maximum core population with IMRO states is 17.06 million. 78th place is also shared between 5 countries this time, and those countries are Barotseland, Botswana, which whenever I look at from distance, I think that it has like a sad face on it in the middle, but it doesn't really. Mozambique, which in this game sadly doesn't have the cool flag with AK-47 in it. I mean, it couldn't even have it. AK-47 wasn't invented yet. That actually does make sense. Zambia, and there's also Zimbabwe. Now you might be wondering, first, why did I put this in B tier? I don't know, I'm an idiot. Let me fix that. Second thing you might be wondering about is, why the hell did I put Rhodesia flag? You can actually play as Rhodesia in Zimbabwe. When you go fascist, you have a leader who is white. And don't think that I support this. It's just funny. And maybe someone gets pissed off. That's also bonus points. I love to troll. And the last thing you might be wondering about, where the hell is South Africa? Doesn't it have the same maximum cores? Zimbabwean empire, right? No, it doesn't. It actually has a little bit more core population than these 5. These 5 have 17.91 million. South Africa has 17.92. Because if you start the game with Africa decolonized, South Africa gets to own and core the states of Saint Helena and Ascension, which have about 3,000 people in total, and yeah, that's the only difference. On 76th place, we've got this country. What the hell is this? This is Latvia. This is one of their flags, which I don't think you could even have without commands. But yeah, I decided to put it here because it's interesting. Maybe you do actually, I'm not sure. Anyway, to get maximum possible cores as Latvia, you have to go communist. You have to go for Latvia, Belarus, SSR, and Soviet Union has to say yes. This gives you cores on all of the Belarusian cores, which means that if Belarus would core something else, you would core that as well. Too bad, Belarus can't core anything else. And then through United Baltic SSR, you can also core Lithuania and Estonia, and yeah, that's it. Anyway, with that and IMRO, Latvia can have the maximum core population of 18.39 million. Also, I have to mention something about Latvia. Paradox never fixed it. Basically, if you go for fascist Latvia path, even when you become Ostland, you never get cores on entirety of Ostland. You're always missing the Soviet part of the Belarus. So yeah, please Paradox, fix this already. It's been like 5 years at this point and they still haven't fixed it. Okay, next up, we've got Wales. Once again, for this, Germany has to go for the monarchist path, and you have to establish Western Grand Duchies. Anyway, this lets them establish a Greater Welsh state, which lets Wales control much of Western England. Let's also not forget that Wales can restore Ivladva through decision, letting them core Southern Argentina, or well, Welsh Argentina. And then finally they can also core the IMRO states, which lets them have maximum core population of 18.45 million. Next country is Vietnam. Vietnam is straightforward. It's just their starting core states plus the IMRO states, which comes out to 19.36 million. Next 4 countries are gonna be interesting. They are similar, but none of them are the same. First one is Greenland, and yes, this is monarchist Greenland flag. To get maximum possible cores as Greenland, you simply have to proclaim the Nordic unity. Next one is Sami. Once again, as Sami, to get maximum possible cores, you just have to proclaim Nordic unity. But this time you have a little bit more population, because you also core Murmansk at the start of the game. Next one is Iceland. You once again have to proclaim Nordic unity, but this time you have to work for your extra cores instead of just having them served to you on your silver platter. You have to go for the fascist path. You have to finish the focus securing the North Sea Passage, which sends an ultimatum to Denmark, Norway and United Kingdom. It doesn't matter what Norway or Denmark say, United Kingdom however has to say yes. This is what you core Shetland Islands. Besides that, if you control Newfoundland, you can raise a monument to Leifur Eriksson, the guy who discovered the Americas. This is what you core Newfoundland as well as the St. Pierre and Miquelon. And the next country is Karelia. Once again, to get the maximum possible cores, you have to proclaim Nordic unity, but you have more cores than the other 3 because you start by coring the states of Onega and Onits. Next up, we have Romania. By the way, happy birthday, Mihai. If you know, you know. Romania is the second country which is referred to as a nation which has a focus tree but can't get any extra cores, and once again people are wrong about this. They can core 1 single extra state. It used to be 2, but now it's 1. Basically, if Yugoslavia finishes focus Banat for support, Hungary gets to own and core the state of Bachka, while Romania gets to own and core the state of West Banat. There used to be a bug where Romania would accidentally core both of the states, but now they fixed it and Romania can only core West Banat besides the IMRO states. And their maximum core population is 21.23 million. Next one is Crimea. Crimea only cores the states of Crimea and Kherson at the start of the game. For Crimea to get maximum possible cores, one of the South Caucasian countries has to form Transcaucasia, and they have to restore the Crimean Khanate while controlling these states. After this, Italy has to go for Mare Nostrum and form the Roman Empire, after which they have to re-establish the Bosporan Kingdom. At the end of the day, Crimea can core all of these states, with a maximum core population of 21.35 million. And yes, I know, you waited for this for a very long time. The 67th country is Catalonia. At the start of the game they only core Catalonia and they claim Balearic Islands. I didn't notice this until now. I think it's been added recently. Anyway, to get the maximum possible cores as Catalonia, you simply have to start with the 11th of November preset. This was put up Iberia into Crown of Castile, Crown of Aragon, as well as independent Galicia, Navarra and Al-Andalus. The Crown of Aragon owns and cores Catalonia, Valencia, Eastern and Western Aragon, as well as Balearic Islands, Sardinia, Sicily and Malta. They also core Calabria, Campania and Puglia, but they don't own them. Guess what? This Crown of Aragon is actually just Catalonia with a different cosmetic tag. If they would conquer those 3 states in Italy and also core the IMRO states, they would reach their maximum core population of 22.75 million. Next up, we've got Siam. Siam is pretty easy. You just need to control Laos and Cambodia, which will let you strengthen the Ratanakosin Empire and core them. This should also give you core on Kentung and Yangphe, but it doesn't. You can have up to 23.49 million core population as Siam. The next country is Korea. Korea is very simple. It's just the starting states plus the IMRO states with a maximum core population of 23.65 million. Another straightforward country is Nigeria. Once again, just the starting states plus the IMRO states with a maximum core population of 24.01 million. The 63rd place is shared between 8 countries, and those countries are Angola, Central African Republic, Chad, Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, whose non-aligned flag, by the way, is basically a child's drawing. Can't also forget Gabon, Katanga, and of course Republic of Congo, or the based Congo, the French Congo, the Congo Brazzaville, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, to get their maximum possible cores, they all just have to form Latin Africa, and with the IMRO states they end up on the maximum core population of 24.19 million people. The 62nd place is also shared between Djibouti, Eritrea, and Somalia. To get their maximum possible course, they have to unify the Horn of Africa and then conquer Socotra, integrate the southern territories, and control the Upper Nile. For a long time, Djibouti couldn't form this formable, but finally Paradox fixed it and now they can also do it. Their maximum core population is 24.51 million. And the last rank in this tier is the 61st rank, which goes out to 6 countries. Bukhara, by the way, very schizo flag. The greatest country in the world, Khiva, Kalpakstan, Kyrgyzstan, and also Uzbekistan. To get maximum possible cores as these countries, you have to do United Turks decision, which lets you form Turkestan. When you combine that with the IMRO states, you get the maximum population of 24.8 million people. Some fun facts: Bukhara has a secret leader who can become the leader of Afghanistan. Kazakhstan has 2 leaders, democratic and communist one, and also Kyrgyzstan has 2 different set of flags. One of them uses the KYR tag, the other one accidentally uses the KGZ tag. And they're actually different flags. You can set a cosmetic tag to that and you can have a different Kyrgyzstan. Now you might realize something. Turkmenistan and Tajikistan are missing. Yeah, that's correct. Anyway, moving on to the B tier. Here you're gonna see countries with maximum core population up to 100 million. We start off strong with Assyria. Fun fact, I met an Assyrian once in my life in Bosnia. Yeah, I know. He was actually from Sweden, and I thought he was a literal Swede, but he wasn't. He was actually an Assyrian from Iraq. He told me that at one point. Anyway, to get maximum possible cores as Assyria, you have to do the Reclaim Our Ancient Glory decision. This allowed them have the maximum core population of 25.37 million. At 59th place, we've got Turkmenistan. Just like other Central Asian countries, Turkmenistan can form Turkestan, but they also start with a core on the state of Maimanakh in Afghanistan, which means their maximum core population is 25.72 million. On 58th place is none other than Tajikistan itself. Same story with Tajikistan. Although they're Iranic, they're not Turkic, they can form Turkestan, and they also core 1 state in Afghanistan. However, the state that they core has about 10,000 people more than the one that Turkmenistan cores, and their maximum core population is 25.73 million. Next country is the USB, or Unaligned States of America. By the way, this country's flag has brighter color palette than that of the USA. Anyway, this country spawns when you go communist as the United States and you cause a civil war. Fascists rise up in the south and these guys spawn in Midwest. You can let them be, or you can just say fuck you and then they join the CSA. Unaligned States of America get to own and core Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois, with their maximum core population of 26.28 million. 56th place is shared between Kenya, Tanzania, and of course Uganda. To get their maximum cores, they have to form East Africa, after which they have to integrate Rwanda, Urundi, dominate Lake Malawi, liberate the Sidama, unite the Somalis, and conquer the Comoros, with a maximum core population of 27.26 million people. The 55th place goes to Kurdistan, and yes, I had to use the French Kurdistan flag, sadly it cropped the flag. Anyway, to get maximum possible core as Kurdistan, you have to restore the cradle of civilization. That lets you core about 25 million people, and combined with IMRO, you have your maximum core population of 27.68 million. The next country is the most fun country to play in South America. Of course, I'm talking about Peru. It's perfect. It starts fascist, you can immediately expand, and you can form not 1 but 2 formables. You can both revive the Confederation with Bolivia and also revive Bolivar's legacy, forming Gran Colombia. It's funny how you can revive Bolivar's legacy, although only about 2% of your population lives in what used to be Gran Colombia. Fun fact about Peru, they can partially or fully core every single independent country in South America except for Uruguay, and their maximum core population is 27.98 million. And now we make a huge jump, the one you've never seen before in this video. We jump by 6 million maximum core population, as our next country in the list is Bangladesh. Basically, to get maximum possible cores as Bangladesh, it's just their starting population plus IMRO, which comes out to 34.58 million. And now I'm gonna rant a little. Basically, if India goes for their democratic path, and if they choose to partition, some princely states end up independent, and then you have to fight with decisions for their control. Basically, you have some points assigned to you. India has 8 of them, Pakistan has 6, and if Bangladesh exists, Bangladesh gets 3. Except Bangladesh gets 0, because Hoi4 devs can't fucking code. The whole reason why Bangladesh can't get any extra cores through this partition is because they forgot to add BAN equal, open bracket and then close bracket. Because once again, they can't code. If they didn't make this mistake, Bangladesh could core another 3 states, which would them have another 30 million core population. But that's not the case, so yeah, their maximum core population is what it is. Oh wait, I think I know why they bugged Bangladesh. They did it on purpose, because next country is Sweden, otherwise Bangladesh would take over their little country. Yeah, I get their agenda now. Anyway, Sweden. To get maximum possible cores in Sweden, you have to go monarchist. So basically, prevent the red dictatorship and then undermine the fascists. Focus that Stor Nordisk riket unlocks decisions, which will let you integrate Finland, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, and most importantly, proclaim the restoration of Swedish Empire. After which you'll be able to proclaim the eternal Nordic Empire. And I gotta say, this country has the most random cores ever. Besides coring all the Nordics, you also get to core New Jersey, French Caribbean, Ghana, and French India. You also get to core Hanover and Mecklenburg. And these cores are bugged. You're not supposed to core Mecklenburg, you're supposed to core Vorpommern. Anyway, you end up with a maximum core population of 35.1 million people. The 51st place is shared between Burundi and Rwanda, which for a very long time had letter R on its flag, which was just so funny to me. Both of these countries can form both Latin Africa as well as East Africa, which lets them have their maximum core population of 45.02 million. Next up, we've got Khalistan. At the start of the game, Khalistan cores northern Pakistan and 1 extra state in India. They also randomly claim Bombay and United Provinces, no idea why, it's disconnected completely. And by coring the IMRO states, they achieve their maximum core population of 45.18 million people. One thing I don't get is, how are they the most powerful princely state, right? But they're one of the very few ones which don't even have any leaders. Also, for whatever reason, their leaders are Asian, but their advisors are white. Next country is Mexico. And yes, this is literally their flag when you go Cristero and when you're fascist. And yeah, they literally have a Jesus on their flag. Anyway, to get the maximum possible cores as Mexico, you have to integrate Central America, as well as Cuba, Haiti, and Dominican Republic through decisions. And you also have to finish Focus Redeem Aztlan, which lets you core 7 states in Southwest USA. This focus also annexes USA if they are your puppet. At the end of the day, Mexico's maximum core population is 46.08 million. Next up, we've got Ukraine. Believe it or not, Ukraine can core some extra states. Man, you just gotta love Otto, he gives cores to everyone. Anyway, if you play as Hungary and go for the Otto path, and go for the Kingdom of Ukraine focus, Ukraine will be spawned as your puppet, and most importantly, they will gain some extra cores. They will end up coring Crimea, Krasnodar, as well as Rostov, which gives them another 5.5 million core population. Alternatively, if Germany goes for Establish Eastern Grand Duchies focus, Germany locks the decision called Restore the Ukrainian State, which once again gives them cores on these 3 states. This will let them have their maximum core population of 46.11 million people. 47th place is shared between Bosnia, Croatia, Slovenia, Slovakia, and Transylvania. All 5 of these countries can form Austria-Hungary, letting them have their maximum core population of 48.85 million people. I did that same thing again. Anyway, the 46th rank is shared between 10 countries. Those countries are Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, Jordan, Bahrain, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, or well, Trucial states, Imamate of Oman, Federation of South Arabia, and surprisingly, Mauritania. All of these countries can unite the Arabian Peninsula. Mauritania can also proclaim a Maghrebi state, but it doesn't really affect the maximum core population. If any of these countries unites Arabia and does all of the Arabia decisions, they can core almost 50 million people. Adding IMRO states to that, they can have their maximum core population of 52.04 million. 45th place is shared between Czechoslovakia and Silesia. Silesia can form Austria-Hungary, which doesn't core Silesia on its own. They already have some extra cores compared to the other Austria-Hungary countries. Czechoslovakia can also form Austria-Hungary, and they can also core Silesia. Once again, Hungary has to go for the Otto monarchist path, and if Hungary has Czechoslovakia as their puppet, through focus restore the Duchy of Teschen, Czechoslovakia can also core Silesia, which lets them have their maximum core population of 54.31 million. The 44th place is shared between 5 countries. Those are Egypt, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, and Kuwait. All of these countries can form Arabia, plus on top of that they can also restore the cradle of civilization, letting them also core Cyprus, as well as a little bit of Iran and Turkey. They all have the maximum core population of 54.82 million. Next country is Sudan. That's right, Sudan can have a little bit more core population than Egypt. How the turntables. Sudan can also form Arabia, but the thing is, Arabia formable cores only the northern part of Sudan, which is home to about 1.3 million people. It doesn't core the rest of Sudan, which is home to more than 4 million people. At the end of the day, Sudan can have a maximum core population of 56.4 million. At the 42nd place, we got Lombardy, Venezia. Just like many other countries, they can form Austria-Hungary, plus on top of that they got their own extra cores. The core Veneto, which is home to 4 million people, as well as Lombardy, which is home to almost 6 million people. Plus on top of that, if Hungary goes monarchist, after they restore the kingdom of Lombardy, Venezia, and if they control Ticino, they can make them core Ticino through reverse the Risorgimento focus. Anyway, Lombardy, Venezia has the maximum core population of 58.58 million people. The 41st place, we've got Denmark. Remember that time when Hoi4 devs sold out so much that all the other Nordic countries got more stuff than Sweden, that they limited you to only being able to do one of these formables at a time. Denmark is sadly a victim of this injustice, as they can't form all 3 of the formables that would give them the maximum cores and that gave them the maximum cores. However, they can technically form 2 of them. If Iceland proclaims Nordic unity, and if after that Denmark puppets them and goes for the right side of the focus tree, by finishing focus develop Iceland, they don't only core Iceland, they core all of the Iceland's cores. Let's not forget, this can be maximized if Iceland goes for the fascist path and if they manage to core Shetland Islands, Newfoundland and St. Pierre and Miquelon. After this you'd have to restore the North Sea Empire, which will let you core England, and then through a Greater Denmark event, which is literally has the ID of 666 in files, you'll be able to core the states of Schleswig, Holstein, Mecklenburg, Vorpommern and Hinterpommern. Also coring the IMRO states will let you achieve your maximum core population of 63.08 million. 40th place is shared by 11 different countries. Those countries are Altai, Evenkia, Far Eastern Republic, Ostiak-Vogulia, Buryatia, Khakassia, Sakha, Taimeria, and please don't tell me that's a bear lifting weights, Chukotka, Vladivostok Republic, as well as Yamalia. All of these countries can form a Siberian state, after which they can integrate the Far East, push to the Urals and liberate the Ainu. Also recently this formula was buffed, you can also liberate the Manchus and core the entire Manchuria. At the end of the day, all of these countries have the maximum core population of 65.42 million. Fun fact, Buryatia actually has a leader with a very long name. He's actually a real guy and he was a writer. Next up we got the third country which has its own focus tree but can't get any extra cores. And this is the only time that I have to agree. Japan can no matter what get any extra cores, other than the 3 IMRO states. I actually have to tell you that Japan might be the only country which loses its own cores. You see, Japan cores the islands of Honshu, Kyushu, Shikoku and Hokkaido, as well as Kuril Islands, South Sakhalin, Okinawa, Iwo Jima, and archipelago of Saipan. What I often see happen, on historical even, is Germany demanding Pacific Islands. And the only country receiving this ultimatum is Japan, because they're at war with everyone else. And poor Japan actually says yes and gives up their core state Saipan to Germany. Anyway, by coring IMRO states, Japan gets its maximum core population of 67.43 million. The next place goes to Norway, and I found this flag in the game files and I have no idea how to get it. But yeah, it's a funny flag. Anyway, to get maximum possible cores as Norway, you have to play Monarchist Norway. Iceland would have to form the Nordic formable. They will also have to go for the fascist path and get to core Shetland Islands. They don't need to core Newfoundland and St. Pierre Miquelon this time. After which, Denmark would have to annex Iceland and finish develop Island focus. Denmark would also have to conquer Baltics and proclaim Dominius Maris Baltici. Denmark would also have to core 5 states in northeast Germany through Greater Denmark event. And after all this has been done, Norway would have to annex all of Denmark's core states. They will also have to annex the states of Murmansk, Onega and Arkhangelsk, and then finish the focus, consolidate the kingdom. And after all this, Norway would have to restore the North Sea Empire, which will give them cores on England, and then with the IMRO states, they'll be able to achieve their maximum core population of 69.69 million people. Nice. Moving on to the 41st place, which is shared by 10 different countries. And those countries are Thuringia, Saxony, Hesse, Mecklenburg, Bayern. I just noticed something. I'm an absolute idiot. This is Bayern-Württemberg. This is West Germany. I'm a moron. I thought this was monarchist West Germany. Bayern-Württemberg goes here. We also got Hanover here, as well as Rhenish Republic, Schleswig-Holstein, and Danzig. All of these countries can declare Germany unified, after which they can integrate Luxembourg, Elsass-Lothringen, South Jutland, East Prussia, Silesia, and Posen, West Prussia, allowing them to reach their maximum core population of 75.13 million people. These are all good Germanys, however there's a better Germany. and that's Volga, Germany, whose flag looks literally like a Turkish candy wrap. That's because Volga, Germany can core everything that these guys can core, but they also core Engelsmarkstadt, which has 600,000 people, which means their maximum core population is 75.75 million. They might be better Germany, but they're not the best Germany, because the best Germany is the United Baltic Duchy. That's right, they can form Germany. Sadly, they can't form Baltic states, but at least they can form Germany. Anyway, for this, Germany has to go monarchist and establish Eastern Grand Duchies, which will give them a decision to found a Baltic German state. This thing will own and core Latvia and Estonia. Sadly, it cannot core Lithuania. It's disconnected and border gory because of the tiny Lithuanian coast. Anyway, its maximum core population is 78.21 million. That might be a great country, but another great country is Iraq, which is next. To get the maximum possible cores as Iraq, you have to form Arabia and do all the Arabia decisions. Besides that, they also have to go for the Hashemite path. If they go for the new Caliph, they'll be able to go for the focus restore Al-Andalus. This focus has the dumbest requirement ever because you don't have to control an inch of Iberia, yet you can core all of it. Sadly, you won't core Spanish and Portuguese island states, which Al-Andalus usually does core. Anyway, as Iraq, you can have up to 82.75 million maximum core population. Moving on to the 33rd place, which is shared by Malaysia and Indonesia. I just have to say, both of these countries have Giga Chad flags, inverted Poland and Islamic USA. So based. Anyway, to get the maximum possible cores as these countries, you have to unite Insul India through decision, after which you have to integrate Papua, the Northern Malays, as well as the Philippines. Combining this with the IMRO states, you can have up to 83.88 million core population. And the highest place in this category goes to none other than Tanutuva. To get the maximum possible cores as Tanutuva, you have to somehow form a Siberian state, after which you have to integrate the Far East, push to the Urals, liberate the Ainu, and liberate the Manchus. You also have to form Turkestan through United Turks decision. If you manage to do all this, and if you also core the 3 IMRO states, you can have the core population of 85.31 million. And oh my god, it's 5 in the morning, I need to sleep. Okay, I woke up, it's afternoon, let's continue with this. We're finally moving into A tier. At the bottom of this tier, we got Lithuania. Getting maximum possible cores as Lithuania isn't exactly straightforward. As expected, you have to go for the monarchist path. Focus Claim Livonia will let you core Estonia and Latvia, while Focus Restore a Commonwealth will let you, well, restore the Commonwealth. Focus Seizes Prussia will give you cores on the Germany's Prussia, and the most important focus is the Greater Commonwealth. Basically what this focus does, it gives you cores to some set states, and it also gives you cores on all of Ukrainian cores. So if Germany or Hungary make Ukraine core Vostok and Krasnodar, you'll be able to get some extra cores. At the end of the day, you're gonna core all of these states with a maximum core population of 102.1 million people. On the 30th place, we've got Turkey. And yes, this is one of their flags, a camelist flag. I have no idea how to get this flag, but I picked it because it's funny. Anyway, to get maximum possible cores as Turkey, you would have to go for Ottoman Empire. But that has changed recently. Because now, finally, after such a long time, Turan can actually get some more cores than Ottoman Empire. In order to get those maximum cores, Kurdistan would first have to restore the cradle of civilization. After this, Turkey would have to conquer Kurdistan and go for Misak Mili path. They have to do all of these focuses, and when it comes to these mutually exclusive ones, instead of usually going for Unite the Azeri diaspora, which used to get you the most cores, you instead have to liberate the Kurdish diaspora. Because the way this focus works, it actually inherits all the Kurdish cores, so through this focus you can core Alexandria and Cairo, and the rest of Middle East. Finally, through forming Turan and assimilating the Chinese Turks, and also coring the IMRO states, you achieve your maximum core population of 107.55 million people. 33rd place is shared by 2 countries, and those are Paraguay and of course Uruguay. To get the maximum possible cores as both of these countries, you have to finish the focus the Stuff of Legends. Then you get cores on these states. Notice how you do core parts of Caribbean and also Central America, but you don't core what is owned by these independent countries. That's because the coding is very weird on this one. It gives you cores on strategic regions which are not already cored by these countries which own them. So you can get a little bit extra core population, although it's kind of tedious and difficult. So if Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Cuba, Haiti and Dominican Republic will lose cores on their own states somehow, which is possible although very tedious, then Paraguay and Uruguay could get some extra cores. At the end of the day, they can core all of these states, allowing them to reach their maximum core population population of 110.32 million people. On 28th place, we've got Greece. To get maximum possible course as Greece, you have to bring home the exile republicans and then compromise with the monarchists. After which you have to make sure that you fail resurrecting the Magali idea, which will let you go for horror and fear focus, after which you'll be able to form Byzantium. Focus survived the double-headed eagle while being fascist lets you revive Byzantium, while finishing the focus Byzantine Themata unlocks the triumph decisions for Balkans, Italy, Levant, and Egypt and Tunis. At the end of the day, your course look like this, and your maximum core population is 115.79 million. On the 27th place, we have Pakistan. At the start of the game, Pakistan has core population of about 61 million, but this can pretty much be doubled. Well, there are two ways for Pakistan to gain cores. One of them is through Indian partition, which is by the way different when you play on historical or ahistorical. The second way, which is less RNG induced and also gives the more cores, is if India goes communist. If India goes communist and finishes the focused Royal Indian Navy mutiny, they'll just go independent, and Pakistan will go independent as well. However, Pakistan will get to own and core some states of India. Those states are West Bengal in the east, as well as the states of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Bahawalpur, Kashmir, and East Punjab in the west. Combining this with the IMRO states lets Pakistan reach its maximum core population of 125.17 million people. Bruh, politically correct sejozwak just wrote to me on Steam. When you pirate next DLC, can you send me that stuff too? Bruh. The 26th place is put between two countries. USA, and what could be the other one? I really wonder. It's this thing. This is the communist flag of the Confederate States of America. Anyway, they have exact same maximum core population. You simply achieve it by granting the statehood to Alaska, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico, and then by coring the IMRO states to achieve a maximum core population of 127.47 million. As for the CSA, they can core every single American core state through very weird decisions, which requires them to be at war with the USA and to fully control a state. Which means that you would eventually capitulate USA, but you could cheese it and grab control over a state a day before you finish the war and then click on the decision, for example. 25th place is also shared between Finland and of course Estonia. To get the maximum possible cores as Finland, Lithuania has to achieve its maximum core population that I mentioned before. Estonia would also have to get its own extra cores through focus Unite the Finnic Identity. This will let them core parts of Soviet Union, and by the way, this focus is still not fixed, it still has bugged cores. After which Finland would have to go communist and go for a join the Comintern path. They have to integrate Kola and Karelia and finish the focus keepers of the Baltic countries while having both Lithuania and Estonia as their puppets. If these countries say yes, Finland will annex them and core all of their cores. Besides this, Finland would also have to proclaim the Nordic unity, and that way they will achieve their maximum core population of 130.63 million people. Estonia's maximum core population is pretty much identical, they just have to do it in a different order. Basically, Lithuania once again has to get its maximum possible cores, after which Finland would integrate the Kola and Karelia and finish keepers of the Baltic countries while having Lithuania as their puppet. They also have to proclaim the Nordic unity, after which Estonia would have to annex Finland and finish focus proclaim Finno-Ugria, which will give them cores on all of Finland's cores. Once again having exact same maximum core population of 130.63 million people. On 24th place, we've got Canada. To get maximum possible cores as Canada, you have to start the game with the Americas Decolonize preset. This lets Canada own and core the states of Saint Pierre and Miquelon, and most importantly, Bermuda. Meanwhile, USA will have to grant statehood to Puerto Rico, as well as Alaska. United Kingdom will have to go monarchist or fascist and conquer United States. If they have Canada as their puppet and in their faction, they'll be able to create pan-North American state, which will let Canada core all of the American states as well as Hawaii. Combining this with IMRO states will let them have their maximum core population of 138.01 million people. 23rd place goes to Al-Andalus. And yes, there is an actual Al-Andalus tag. To get this country to spawn, you have to start the game with the 11th of November preset. After which you simply have to do all of the Al-Andalus decisions and also core the 3 IMRO states. This will let them reach their maximum core population of 151.24 million people. 22nd place goes to the Republic of the Rif. They have almost identical maximum core population to Al-Andalus. The only difference is that they can proclaim a Maghribi state. For some reason they also can proclaim Arabia, but okay, whatever. Anyway, proclaiming a Maghribi state lets them core the states of Mauritania and Mauritanian Desert, giving them extra core population of about another 350,000 people, with their maximum core population of 151.59 million. On the 21st place, we have another African country, and that's the Belgian Congo. To get the maximum possible course as Belgian Congo, you have to go for the Lion Roars path, or basically the communist path. After which you have to go for the liberation by force, which will let you form the African Union. Contrary to the popular belief, it doesn't take you 20 years to core the entirety of Africa. Hell, you can do it by only integrating like 2 or 3 countries. You basically core all the states that the country that you're integrating owns inside of Africa, not cores. So you could feed your puppet some colonies that you liberated from, let's say, Portugal and Spain, and then through just integrating that one single puppet, you core all of the Spanish and Portuguese colonies. Anyway, this only lets you core the states in Africa, as well as some islands around it, and combining this with the IMRO states unlocks your maximum core population of 152.73 million people. 20th place is shared by 5 countries. Those countries are Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, which by the way in the game files has this flag and I have no idea how to get it as Libya, Morocco, as well as the mighty Western Sahara, which by the way has the coolest flag of all of these, even though it's like the least important by far. These countries have similar maximum core population to the Republic of Rif, however they can form Arabia unlike the Republic of Rif, which also has them core the states of Khartoum, Kassala and North Darfur inside of Sudan. Combining this with IMRO states lets them unlock their maximum core population of 152.93 million. The 19th place is shared by 9 different countries. Those countries are Ethiopia, Sultanate of Hausa, Tigray, Benishangul Gumuz Nation, Chemand State or Kemant State, I'm never sure how to pronounce this, Oromia, Emirate of Harar, Kingdom of Sidamo, as well as Gambela. These are basically all the Ethiopian countries inside of Ethiopia, as well as Ethiopia itself. To get maximum possible cores as Ethiopia, just like with Congo, you have to go communist, and you can pretty much have exact same core population as Congo. But there is one little difference. If you would go non-aligned or fascist as Ethiopia while owning the state of Palestine, a decision will show up. Make Jerusalem the capital of the empire. This makes Jerusalem a 12 victory point city, turns the state into a developer region, and it also moves your capital there. So you can have about another 900,000 people compared to Congo. You have to go for this fucking gypsies. Can you hear them? Can you hear them? Can you hear their van? Can you hear their van?
Outside your home? No, I don't hear them.
Okay.
I can only hear you.
As for these other Ethiopian countries, they can get their maximum core population the same way. Ethiopia basically has to achieve its maximum core population, after which they have to conquer Ethiopia and finish the focus crowning of the Nagusa Nagast. This deletes Ethiopia's cores, but makes them core all of Ethiopia's cores instead. At the end of the day, they all have the exact same maximum core population of 153.67 million people. Next country is Soviet Union, and yes, I had to pick this flag to confuse everyone. Anyway, to get maximum possible cores of Soviet Union, it's pretty damn straightforward. You just have to stop being Soviet Union, and you have to go for the beaten but not defeated path. After you win the Civil War and go independent, you'll have to reconvene the Zemsky Sobor, after which you can either go for Romanov reconstruction or dismantle the Zemsky Sobor. After this you have to go for westward bound, the old enemy, secure Finland, as well as secure the Baltics. After you finish all these focuses, you'll be able to finish focus called Pan-Slavic Nationalism. This unlocks 5 decisions. Integrate Czechoslovakia, integrate Bulgaria, integrate Poland, integrate Yugoslavia, and declare the Pan-Slavic Union. The last one honestly does nothing, just changes your cosmetic tag. These other ones, however, give you cores. Unfortunately, no matter what you do, you can't affect these states, they're always the same. Even if these countries in question would core extra stuff, you don't inherit their cores, you just core the set states. Let's not forget you also core Tanutuva, you have to conquer it as well. At the end of the day, your cores look like this, with a maximum core population of 231.3 million people. The next country is the most controversial one on this list, as the answer is honestly speculative. This country is the Partisans, and there's 2 ways you can spawn them. First way you can spawn them is temporarily, if you decide to go League Against Fascism path as India. You can spawn them in all of the states that you core at the start of the game, but when the Civil War begins, their cores just disappear. The second way they can spawn is through famine, and this one is even more random and even more stupid. However, this is the way they can get their maximum possible cores. Famine can last up to 24 months. And it usually starts in East Bengal, and it spreads randomly towards the next bordering state. It can only spread inside of the starting British Raj states, and it can spread up to 24 states total. So the maximum core population of them would be the 24 most populated states inside of British Raj. The thing is, when the famine stops, British Raj gets an event, and when they click the only option, all of their cores disappear. The only way you could circumvent this is if you would annex British Raj as some country in the meantime, so they never pick the option in their event. And if you manage to do this, and if the partisans manage to core the 3 IMRO states, they will achieve their maximum core population of 342.01 million people. On the 20th place we've got Bulgaria, and while the previous one was controversial, this one is just annoying. However, I'm gonna get to it later, and you'll see why. Next place is shared by 7 different countries, and those countries of course are China, Communist China, Manchukuo, Guangxi Clique, Yunnan, Shangji, and of course the mighty Shibei Sanma. Now, to get maximum possible cores at these countries, China and Communist China are pretty straightforward. They core all of their Chinese cores, so they just have to conquer them. Mochico has to go either for obedience path and then finish the national cooperation government focus, or for the assertiveness path, where they have to finish the reclaim the empire focus. As for Shangji, Shibei Sanma, Yunnan and Guangxi, they either have to finish power struggle, the Yan'an incident, or proclaim rival government. Honestly, proclaiming rival government is my favorite. At the end of the day, they all have exact same cores, which look like this, and let's not forget the IMRO states, with their maximum core population of 492.56 million people. And we're finally moving on to the S tier. Here we got all the countries that can core more than 500 million people, but less than 2 billion. So yeah, not quite the entire world, but still a huge portion of it. This place is shared by 8 different countries. And those are Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Austria, Hungary, and yeah, this is literally a Hungarian flag if they do the Hungary-Sweden, bruh, Yugoslavia, and surprisingly Prussia. Now first things first, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg. These ones are pretty straightforward. You just have to be democratic, form EU and do all of the EU decisions. When it comes to Austria and Hungary, it's not as straightforward, but it is still not that complicated. In order to form the European Union of Austria, you have to repeal the May Constitution, reinstate the Herrenhaus, getting Otto to be your country leader, and then finish the Danubian Federation. You also have to be a major, and if you meet all of these conditions, decision realize European unity will show up. Or you can hold elections and go democratic, and then finish the focus our right to self-determination. Either way, you can form the European Union and, well, core all of Europe. As for Hungary, the story is pretty similar as well. You have to end the regnancy and invite Otto to the throne, after which you have to work your way down the focus tree and finish the focus Renovatio Imperii. Once again, if you have Otto as your country leader and if you're major while having this focus finished, the decision will show up. Yugoslavia, on the other hand, is a little bit harder to set up. In order to get the maximum possible cores as Yugoslavia, Hungary would have to proclaim European Union and core all the stuff they can core from the European Union. After which Yugoslavia will have to puppet such Hungary, making sure Hungary owns all of its states, all of its core states, that is. Well, they can be missing the ones inside of Yugoslavia, as Yugoslavia already cores them. And after all that, Yugoslavia would have to finish the focus to unite the kingdoms, which will make them annex Hungary and core all of their cores. And there's one more country left with the exact same maximum core population, and that's Prussia. And I'll let Vibes explain that one, because he discovered it himself.
In order to get Prussia's maximum core population, first of all, Germany has to form the European Union and conquer all of Europe. After that, we need to play Czechia and have to lose all the Czech core states. This can be easily done by just going to the occupied territory list and return all the territory to the European Federation. After that, we have to play as France, conquer the entire European Federation, and go down the Proclaim the Third Empire path. The focus disunite Germany has now a weird effect. If you complete this focus, every previously core German state now became a Prussian state. Except, of course, some exceptions here in the core land of Germany. However, this can be easily fixed. If we as Prussia simply occupy the remaining needed territory, we now are able to click the Germany reunification decision. With that, we can choose a new capital, let's choose Munich, and now we also core all of the German core states. With that, achieving a maximum population of 505.76 million people, and coring the entire Europe as Super Prussia.
Anyway, back to Bulgaria. I said I'm gonna do this country later, and I'm gonna do it now. To get the maximum possible cores as Bulgaria, you have to go democratic or communist, and basically go for the unification of the Balkans. The way this focus works, it inherits all the cores of Greece, Yugoslavia, Albania, Romania, and Turkey that are in Europe. Let's not forget that Yugoslavia can core the entire Europe. After this, you would simply have to play as Bulgaria and then work your way down the focus tree, either going communist or democratic, and finish the focus, the unification of the Balkans. And now you become super black, like Vanta Black, and you get cores. But here's the thing, this thing checks if the cores are in Europe or not. You don't get all the cores, because this stuff right here, in eastern part of European Russia and the stuff in the Caucasus, is not considered a part of Europe. And yes, even this is considered part of Asia in Hearts of Iron 4. Well, not this entire state, but like eastern part of it, like until here maybe. That's what makes them drop into a lower tier with a maximum core population of 469.57 million people. 13th place goes to Xinjiang. Xinjiang is pretty straightforward. It's just like any other warlord. They can core all of China through finishing their warlord tree, with a unique property which no other warlord has, and that's the ability to unite the Turks and form Turkestan pretty much. Combine this with the IMRO states, you unlock your maximum core population of 510.44 million people. Oh, I just noticed something funny. I mixed up the flags of Indonesia and Poland, bruh. Anyway, the next place goes to Poland. To get the maximum possible cores as Poland, Hungary would once again have to core the entire Europe, after which Yugoslavia would have to once again puppet them and do reunite the kingdom's focus. While Soviet Union would have to finish the focus, recover the Kuril Islands. If they attack Japan after this, they will get a decision here, or actually two of them. Offer peace for South Sakhalin and Kuril Islands, as well as offer peace for South Sakhalin, Kuril Islands and Hokkaido. You can get Hokkaido, but sadly you can't core it. But what you can core, however, is South Sakhalin and Kuril Islands. After this, Poland would have to go for their monarchist path, after which they have to pick Anastasia Romanov as their king. This unlocks the secret Romanov path. You have to claim Russia, demand Pomerania. Well, they actually said yes, but how did they say yes? They don't exist. And then after conquering Yugoslavia and Soviet Union, you would have to finish proclaim Slavic unity. Your course will look like this. Notice that you don't core Central Asia. However, there is a way for you to core it. If Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan all lost their cores, as you can see they're missing, if they would now finish Proclaim Slavic Unity focus, they would actually core Central Asia as well. At the end of the day, their cores look like this. Very nice cores, going all the way from Greenland to Chukchi Peninsula, with a maximum core population of 542.78 million people. On the next place, we have two countries. Those countries are Afghanistan and Iran. Basically, the tale old as time. Two countries inherit each other's cores and they have the same maximum cores. Same thing with Estonia and Finland, for example. To get the maximum possible cores as these two, you have to start the game with Asia the Colonized preset. This gives British Raj core on Andaman, which is going to be crucial. In the meantime, Egypt will have to unite Arabia and do all of the Arabia integration decisions and also restore the cradle of civilization. Actually, they don't have to do that one. They will core all of this. In the meantime, Turkey will have to go for the Turan path. And it's crucial that they finish Unite the Azeri Diaspora focus. Obviously, they also have to form Turan and also assimilate the Chinese Turks. They'll be able to core all of this. Meanwhile, Turkey will have to revive Byzantium. They also have to go for Triumph for the Balkans and Italy, letting them core all of this. Afghanistan has to go for against Kabul, and then remember the Kost Rebellion. The Fakirs Revolt is gonna cause a civil war, and you will become Emirate of Afghanistan. After this you have to invite the Mughal prince, and if you manage to conquer all of the British Raj and Burma, once you finish the focus return to Delhi, you'll be able to core it. Basically coring all of this. Meanwhile, Iran would have to go for the Pahlavi Imperium and the Legacy of Greatness. Now they have to work their way down this right side of the focus tree. 4 focuses here matter the most. First one is reintegrate the Anatolian territory. This unlocks decisions which let you core all of the Turkish cores. Second one is absorb the Byzantine Empire. This one lets you core all of the cores of Greece. Third one is the Memphis Initiative. This one lets you core all of the Egypt's cores. And finally, Glory of Cyrus the Great. This one immediately gives you all of the cores of Afghanistan. And if you manage to conquer this Turkey, Egypt and Greece, you will unlock decisions right here. Each of them takes 35 days and you lose political power from it. Each of them also takes 75 PP, so they are very expensive. Also, you might be confused at some point because some states you'll be able to integrate twice. For example, this state right here, cored by Greece and by Turan. You can find it here twice. Yeah, you can integrate like this or like this. Anyway, this will take forever and I hate this integration system. Genuinely, it's ass. Mostly because even when you lose one single state that you're integrating, let's say that I'm integrating, I don't know, Vojvodina, and then Hungary comes in, takes Novi Sad, I lose control, it gets bugged out and I can't integrate anything else anymore. Also, I can only integrate one state at a time. Also, it's expensive and it doesn't scale for anything. Tiny state like Zadar costs the same as a state like Cairo. Thank God for the commands of decision no checks and decision fast remove, otherwise I'd shoot myself on the spot. Look at all these, look how long this takes. Even when having commands, which let me integrate this immediately, I have to click for like good 2 minutes almost. Yeah, I really hate this integration system, it's horrible, and this is probably the most extreme example of it. Also, you can't integrate impassable states for whatever reason. As for the Afghanistan, once again, Iran will have to go for Pahlavi Imperium, Legacy of Greatness, and do all these focuses and integrate all these decisions. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot, you can also core Armenia. You just need to own it. And after Iran cored all this, Afghanistan would simply have to finish focus, restore the Timurid Empire, which lets them inherit all of the Iran's cores. Which means this focus is pretty much useless when it comes to cores. Also, I love it how it has generate war tension limit minus 50% at the end of the focus tree. Why? It's pointless. At this point, war tension will probably be high enough. You conquered British Raj for fuck's sake. Anyway, you get to core all of these states, just like Iran, with a maximum core population of 576.7 million people. And here we are, we finally reached top 10. On the 10th place we've got Argentina. Fun fact, Argentina's population increased by 40% when Tribal Villages came out. They had 12 million people and after the DLC came out they suddenly had 17 million. Anyway, to get maximum possible cores in Argentina, you have to go for Roberto Maria Ortiz and work with the nationalists. Meanwhile, Germany has to rally the Wehrmacht and end up in the civil war. After which they have to take Berlin, the mustache man dies, they win the civil war, blah 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 blah. Anyway, if Argentina finished these two focuses, then a little bit later, they're gonna get an event called a strange visitor. If they click yes, this happens. This unlocks the focus tree right here. For time the charm, you become this. And this gives you course on all of German cores and also war goals in South America. But you have to not pick this yet. Fun fact, this focus right here now gives you technology, atomic research and experimental rockets, but it used to give you nuclear reactors. I shit you not. You would get nuclear reactors in like 936 or maybe 937, like the tech that was right here. Now they removed that tech, so you get atomic research. Still pretty fucking OP. In the meantime, Germany would have to go democratic. They have to realize European unity and do all of the expansion decisions, basically coring the entirety of Europe. And only now Argentina would have to finish the focus Guerra Relampago. This will give them a course now of German cores, which means that yes, they will core the entire EU. After which they simply have to conquer, you know, this United Europe, which totally isn't OP and doesn't have 600 factories in 936. After which they have to work their way down this focus tree and finish the focus South American unity. Sadly, this stops them from being the Fourth Reich. You know what's funny? On historical, this always happens. If you play for long enough, Argentina just becomes Sudamerican Legionara, and you get confused, what the fuck is this country? Oh, it's Argentina. The funniest thing is, I think they're not even fascists, they end up being non-aligned Sudamerica Legionara, which doesn't have any localizations, by the way, it's always the same name. Once again, this exact same copy-pasted syndrome of coring mechanism, just like with Iran, this is literally copy-pasted, look at this. Same requirement, 75 political power, same minus 15% political power game. Same length, 35 days. Brother, this is so slop. Anyway, this decision will let you integrate South America, except for the impossible states. Once again, literally copy-pasted mechanism. At the end of the day, Argentina becomes this Europe-South America Union, which cores all of these black states, with a maximum core population of 613.44 million people. Next place goes to another Italian country, and that's Italy. To get the maximum possible cores as Italy, you first have to defeat Ethiopia, or just pull out of it. Doesn't really matter. After this, you're gonna go for Culto del Duce, and work your way down the focus tree towards Mare Nostrum. Once you finish Mare Nostrum, you unlock the decision to form the Roman Empire. After which, surprise, you have to form it, which means you core all of this. You have to do all of these reintegration decisions, except for the last one, which re-establishes the Bosporan Kingdom. This one you don't care about. This stuff gives you tons of cores, but that's not all. At this point, you would have to attack some country, let's make it Germany, and they will have to start occupying your land. Losing each core state moves your balance of power to the left, and you end up in a civil war. After this, you have to pick the last option, let liberty reign, and now you become Reino del Sud, and you have to help your overlord kill the original Italy. Now this is actually not the maximum core population of Italy itself, you are actually playing as a generic tag, but I decided to include this because you can play as them. Anyway, once you defeat them, you can go independent through this, or you can raise your autonomy. But the sweetest part right here is the fact that you finish the fight at Duce, and you can go for the Italian Republic. You also can go for the Ethiopian question, and you unlock the focus Abolish the Colonies. This activates a 365-day mission, which will let you core stuff in Africa, as well as the Middle East. And it's similar to the French Union, except it's not shit. Basically, it looks at the compliance, it looks at like, if you build something and whatnot, and after 1 year, they'll say yes or no, based on chance, but chance is definitely affected by compliance. If you have 100% compliance, you're basically guaranteed to core a region. But before you pick this focus, make sure that you conquer the entire Africa, as well as the Middle East. Also, the term Middle East is so damn bleak, to the point that parts of Afghanistan are considered Middle East, while the parts are not, and also parts of Pakistan are considered Middle East. If you fire this event right here, you can see the chances, and you can see 40% they join, 60% they don't join, but that's based on like having no compliance here whatsoever. Anyway, if they accept, you will get 6 events. Basically, if they say yes, you core those states. If they say no, they all get released. And you have the Middle East vote, you have the West Africa vote, North Africa vote, Central Africa, South Africa, and East Africa. Let's not forget that if we go democratic, while being a major, we also knock the decision to realize European unity. At the end of the day, Italy cores all of these states, with a maximum core population of 698.14 million people. There's only a couple of countries left here, and on the 8th place we've got Portugal. To get the maximum possible course as Portugal, you have to start the game with America's decolonized preset. Finishing focus Luso-tropicalism will let you integrate Angola and Mozambique, but don't get your hopes up, you only get to core their starting states. Meanwhile, some other funny things will have to happen. Germany will have to go for the Civil War and go democratic, after which they have to form EU, and do all of the integration decisions as well. After this, Argentina will have to get a strange visitor, and they'll have to accept him, and then they'll have to finish the Guerra Relampago focus, which will let them core pretty much the entire Europe. Meanwhile, Hawaii, Rapa Nui, Tahiti or Samoa would have to unite Polynesia, making sure to conquer all of its states, while Chile would have to go for the Mapuche path. Mission Crusade against Imperialism will unlock these decisions right here. The only one that matters is the Inuit one. This show would have to conquer Mexico, USA and Canada, as well as the state of Chukchi Peninsula inside of the Soviet Union. They'll also have to conquer Greenland, after which they'll be able to liberate the Inuit people. They also have to release Canada as their puppet, as well as Mexico, USA and the country that formed Polynesia. After which they have to finish unified by will focus. Meanwhile, Brazil would have to work their way down the focus tree and finish the good neighbor policy. They have to create the faction and finish the focus, the United States of South America. After which they have to puppet every single country in South America. Alternatively, one country could form a formable, like for example forming Antilles, and then you could puppet just that country itself. Either way, the cores don't change. Anyway, you now get the decisions here. You can propose integration of all of these countries. Well, they don't have to be your puppets, but if they're your puppets, they're basically guaranteed to say yes. They can just be your allies though. You also gotta make sure that all of your puppets own their core states, so Argentina has to conquer Europe. After which you have to do these proposed integration decisions. If they say yes, you get to annex them and core all their cores. Now the two most important ones right here are Chile, which gives you 120 core states, and Argentina, which gives you 375 core states. As a result, Brazil gets to core pretty much the entire Europe, both of the Americas, and even Pacific, going all the way towards Taiwan. After all the shenanigans, Portugal would simply have to go monarchist and cause a civil war in Brazil. And once the monarchists win the civil war, you finish the kingdom reunited, and if they say yes, which they basically always will, you get to core all of Brazil's cores. It's funny how you can't core Macau, but you can't core Taiwan. You also can't core Portuguese-speaking Cape Verde, but you can core like fucking Russia. Anyway, at the end of the day, your cores look like this, with a maximum core population of 777.25 million. The next place goes to Democratic Spain, or Communist Spain, the yellow Spain, the one that you have at the start of the game. Their cores are just slightly bigger than that of Portugal. To get these maximum cores, they have to pick the middle option in the Civil War event, which will basically make them go communist. After winning the Civil War, you have to work your way down the focus tree until you reach the focus called a Red Iberia. Now this focus gives you a war goal in Portugal, but what most people don't know is that there is more to this focus. Basically, if you're communist, which at this point you are, and if Portugal is also communist, this focus changes. Porto-Brazilian People's Union gets an event, a Red Iberia. Basically, they get an event for reunification, and they can reject it. But they can also say yes, which lets you form Iberia, lets you annex them, and then you also inherit all of their cores. At the end of the day, your cores look like this, with a maximum core population of 777.79 million. The only difference is one single state, and that's the state of Canary Islands, which Portugal cannot core unless they go communist, but then they can't core Brazil. Moving on to the 6th place, which is actually shared by 3 countries. Those countries are nationally Spain, Chile, as well as Brazil. And yes, this is literally flag of Brazil called United Brazilian States or something like that. It's funny, I had to put it there. To get the maximum core population as these countries, you have to start the game with America's Decolonized, which lets Canada core Bermuda, as well as the 11th of September preset, which spawns Al-Andalus. Al-Andalus would have to do all of their expansion decisions, after which they have to conquer all of their cores except for the ones in the Iberia. Germany would once again have to go democratic and realize European unity, after which they have to do all the expansion decisions except for the Iberian one. Once again, Hawaii, Samoa, Tahiti or Rapa Nui would have to unite Polynesia, making sure to conquer all of their core states. Chile would once again have to go for the Mapuche path, making sure to puppet the country that formed Polynesia, as well as Mexico, USA, Canada, and of course United Inuit States, making sure that they core the Chukchi Peninsula. Meanwhile, back in Europe, Spain erupts in a civil war, where they have to go for the Phalangist path. Well, Phalangists would have to win in the Civil War, defeating both Republicans and Carlists. This will end the Spanish Civil War. Portugal would have to go for Popular Front, after which they'll be able to bypass support the Spanish Republic. They will also be able to bypass focus of Iberia Unite, and if they're communists, they'll be able to finish the Iberian Socialist Union focus. And look at this! Crown of Aragon, Kingdom of Navarra, Galicia, Al-Andalus gets event the Iberian Socialist Union. All of these countries get the event, which means Portugal can core pretty much the entirety of Al-Andalus through this event. As you can see, we just managed to core all of that. By this time, a strange visitor has already arrived in Argentina, and the secret focus tree has been unlocked. Officially, the focus Jerl and Pal will once again let Argentina core all of Europe, after which they'd have to conquer it. One more thing that Portugal can do is go for Lusotropicalism and integrate Angola and Mozambique. Up until this point, everything was the same. Now, these three countries branch out on how to get their maximum possible cores. Let's start with Brazil. First things first, Portugal has to conquer Spain, making sure that they own all of their cores. Brazil would have to go monarchist. If they finish focus United Kingdoms of Brazil and Portugal, Portugal gets an event. And if Portugal says yes, you get to annex them and core all of their core states. After this, you will go for good neighbor policy. And once again, you'll be able to finish the United States of South America focus. Meanwhile, Chile would have to finish United by Will, letting them annex and core, in this case, Hawaii, as well as Mexico, USA, Canada, and United Inuit States. And then as Brazil would simply have to puppet all the countries in South America, after which you have to integrate them through decisions. This way, you achieve the maximum core population as Brazil. As for Chile, once again, Portugal has to conquer the Phalangist Spain. Once again, Brazil has to go for the monarchist path. And once again, Portugal has to say yes. After this, Brazil once again goes for the United States of South America. But this time they integrate all of the South American countries except for Chile itself. And after all this, Chile would have to puppet Brazil, and only then finish the Unified by Will focus. Brazil is another one of those countries that they can inherit the cores from, because they don't actually create any new countries in Brazil, they just reorganize their government. You once again achieve exact same maximum core population. And the last country that can achieve the same identical maximum core population is the nationalist Spain, or actually Phalangist Spain. In order for them to get their maximum possible cores, Chile would have to get their maximum possible cores, only not having to core Spain itself, obviously. Spain can either re-core Spain through guerrilla decisions, or if they get fully annexed, then all of their cores just return to them, and then they can be released, and you can release yourself as them in all of the states, as I just did right here. After this, they can work their way down the focus tree, and they can inherit all of the Portuguese cores from this focus right here. But they don't have to do that, as they'll be able to inherit all of the Chilean cores from the Embrace Pan-Hispanic Nationalism focus. As you can see, it gives them cores on 664 states. Damn. Just like with Brazil and Chile, nationalist / Phalangist Spain has exact same maximum core population, coring all of Europe, all of Al-Andalus, Angola, Mozambique, all of Pacific, and also Taiwan, with a maximum core population of 878.29 million people. Moving on to the 5th place, which is once again shared between France and this time Carlist Spain. Once again, the tale as old as time, just like Estonia and Finland, just like Afghanistan and Iran, these two countries can inherit each other's cores through their monarchist trees. So they just have to milk as much core population as possible and then just inherit one another. When it comes to France, they can realize European unity and do all the expansion decisions except for the Iberian one, which is already impressive on its own, but they can core even more stuff. Let's not forget that France can also get cores from the French Union. And the best part about this focus is that it inherits the cores. The French-Syrian one inherits the cores of Syria and Lebanon, which means it's possible for one of them to unite Arabian Peninsula and also restore the cradle of civilization, letting them core all of this and eventually letting France core all of this as well. Same thing goes for Central Africa. If one of the countries in Central Africa, which is a colony of France, manages to unite Latin Africa, once again, they'll core all of these states, which means that France will also be able to core them. As for the West Africa, the only formable that exists here is Maghrebi state, but that one overlaps already with the other ones. French Indochina doesn't even have any formables. And finally, we got the Northwest Africa. This one indeed has a formable. Of course, I'm talking about Al-Andalus. If Tunisia, Algeria, or Morocco manage to form Al-Andalus and do all of their decisions, they'll core a fuck ton of land, which once again France can core. Once these countries obtain all these cores, France would simply have to annex these countries and then finish the French Union. And then they have to gamble. There is about 0.7% chance or something. Or was it? No, it was 0.07 for all of these to say yes. In this instance, two of them said yes, Central Africa and West Africa, so it's very RNG. But let's just say that somehow you were lucky and all of them said yes, then you'll be able to core all of these states. Meanwhile, Portugal once again will have to get as many cores as possible. That means Chile, once again, creating Inuit states, puppeting Canada, puppeting USA, puppeting Mexico, puppeting Hawaii, integrating them through decision. Brazil afterwards, puppeting every single country in South America, as well as Chile and Argentina, and then integrating them to a decision. At least this time they don't have to do the Fourth Reich thing, because France core the EU. But yeah, I'm just gonna speed it up, so that you don't go through it again. And you would have to go for America to colonize because of Bermuda, I forgot about it. How could I forget about this? Okay, once Brazil managed to core all of this, Portugal would have to integrate Angola and Mozambique through Lusotropicalism, and then they'd have to go monarchist. And when it comes to the Spanish Civil War, you have to pick Carl's path. You You have to win the Spanish Civil War by defeating both the Phalangists and the Republicans, who are also anarchists if they rise up. When it comes to succession, I don't think this matters, but I would go for Alfonso XIII. And when you finish Stamp Out the Maquis, you'll be able to recore back your stuff. Core your stuff back by eliminating the guerrillas. After this, you'll be able to restore the Iberian Union. If Portugal is your puppet, they're basically always going to say yes. This will let you annex them and core all of their cores, basically coring all of those Brazilian cores. And now we have to fuse these two countries. This Iberia, which consists the least of Iberia, and this European Union, which is also European, African, Middle Eastern, Southeast Asian Union. They can both core each other, and for France it's genuinely easier. France has to go monarchist, and they have to go for the legitimate heir path. After which they'll be able to secure the crown of Spain. Through the focus Unite the Crowns, they inherit all of the cores of Carlist Spain. This is a key point. If it's any other Spain that has these cores, they won't inherit anything. And usually, on historical, Carlists lose, and this focus just gives you a war goal. You also get to annex them. I don't think they even get an event for this. And your max scores look like this. When it comes to Carlist Spain, it's a little bit different. France, once again, would have to finish the legitimate heir. I think they have to finish this focus as well, but I'm not sure. And if they finish that focus, your focus claim the French throne actually changes. Used to simply give you a war goal, now they get an event. Iberia claims French throne. If they say no, you once again get a war goal, but if they say yes, you will get to core them eventually. This doesn't happen instantaneously, however. You first get this event, which makes them your puppet, and then you get the coronation of Alfonso XIII. This is much better than the French one. This one gets you their generals and their navy commanders. Once again, you have exactly maximum core population of 939.44 million. Now it shows a different number here because it grew, because, you know, it's February already. And there is only one more country left in this category, and that country is none other than United Kingdom. Now there's 4 ways UK can get cores. First way is through the focus Unite the Anglosphere. If you own the 3 Irish states of Leinster, Connacht and Munster, you'll be able to core them through this focus right here. Second way United Kingdom can gain cores is through the European Union, and that's only possible if they go fascist. Basically, decision comes available, but they don't actually become European Union. However, they do get to core all of the EU cores. Third way is actually shared with every single path, and third way is going for the Imperial Federation. They just have to reinforce the Empire and work their way down the Imperial Federation. This will let them core all of Canada's cores, all of Australia's cores, all of New Zealand's cores, and potentially all of South Africa's cores. If South Africa doesn't finish the focus Police Windhoek, they won't get any South Africa's cores. If they do finish it, however, they will get every single South African core state except for Transvaal. So to get most out of South Africa, they have to finish Police Windhoek. You have to start the game with Africa decolonized, so they can core St. Helena and Ascension, and they also have to recreate the Zimbabwean Empire. To get the most out of Australia, you have to start the game with Asia decolonized, which will let them core Cocos Islands as well as Christmas Island. And to get the most out of New Zealand, they would have to form Polynesia, which is home to about 10 million people. And to get most out of Canada, you have to start the game with Americas decolonized, so they can core St. Pierre, Miquelon and Bermuda, and then you have to create the Pan-North American state. However, cores from Canada and New Zealand are basically relevant, since UK has the 4th method in which they can gain cores, and that's through the Franco-British Union. Through this event, UK can inherit all of the French cores, and obviously this is the most effective if France manages to achieve as many cores as they can. Basically, this is possible if France gets the defeat event. This event always shows up on historical. It has a couple of requirements. For example, UK and France have to be in the same faction, they have to be fighting a war together with Germany, they both have to be democratic, I believe, which is all possible, and France has to be very close to capitulation. They have 3 options. First one, you click on this, you become Vichy France. Second one, you click on this, you become Free France. And the third one, which the AI never picks on ahistorical it can pick it, but it has about 1 or 2% chance from what I know. UK gets event, France proposes union. And UK just gets to annex and core all French cores. And at the end of the day, UK can core all of this. Basically, all of the Pacific, as well as Australia this time, French Indochina, all of the Americas, Ascension and St. Helena, most of Africa, except for, ironically, their colonies, and of course Ethiopia and East Africa and also Transvaal. They also core pretty much the entirety of Middle East, the entirety of Europe, and the only thing that they really don't core and that really stands out here is Turkey, which is completely encircled, both from the east and from the west, and from the north, and from the south. Anyway, their maximum core population is 954.84 million people. These French cores are deemed as temporary. You get an event eventually, once the war is over, where you have an option to either release France or to say no, and then you just get resistance and you lose all the cores. However, it's an event. Remember that events can be cheesed in this game. One way you can do it is if your country gets annexed in the meantime. Event disappears. Let's release ourselves as another random country like Siam. All you have to do, release yourself in this country, play as them. Event carries over. Now simply save the game and load it. The event is gone. And now we simply wait for 2 weeks. And there you go, the cores just stayed. They're not temporary, not at all. Events are very buggy in this game to this day. And you can keep those cores. And finally, we're moving on to our last tier, the S+ tier. These countries in S tier can core more than 2 billion people, and there's 3 of them. The first country that goes into this list is this one. That's right, that's one of the Swiss flags. I believe that's their flag if they're a puppet of United Kingdom. I mean, obviously, come on. Now, to get the maximum possible cores as Switzerland, you have to work your way down the left side of your focus tree. Now, what some people think is that the most cores you can get is if Austria manages to get as many cores as possible, which used to be Austria-Hungary, but now it's EU, and then you finish Preempt Anschluss. And yeah, that's true. You can actually core entire Europe like that. However, you can get even more cores through Focus Expand the Confederation. So this focus unlocks 2 decisions: influence future cantons and press country for influence future canton. You can immediately influence future cantons in the Alpine region, which consists of northern Italy, entire Austria, and I believe these 4 states in France. Plus, on top of that, you can initiate this in the states that border you. If I manage to own this state myself, I'll unlock decisions to core all the other states that this state borders. As you can see, I can now influence this one. The way this works, you influence future cantons. If you fail to influence it, nothing happens, but you can do it again. Once again I failed, once again I failed, once again I failed. It's very RNG, it's very boring, it's very stupid. Here we are, finally we did it. This gives you a claim on the state. And now you press for it. If they say yes, you get to own and core it. They give it to you. If they say no, you still get to core it. That's how it works, basically. Initially, I thought that you could only do this in the mainland Europe, Asia, and Africa. But the thing is, you can do it in any state in the world which borders any other state. So you could, let's say, grab Florida, even though it's in a completely different landmass. You unlock decisions for these 2 states up here. It even works for island states, like for example Haiti. I grab Haiti, I unlock Dominican Republic. If I manage to get Dominican Republic, then I'll be able to own Dominican Republic, then release Haiti, which is not core by me, and then I get Haiti from Haiti and then core both of these. You can really core every single state in the world which borders any other state, including the states that no one cores like Gibraltar, and including the impossible states like Algerian Desert right here. Anyway, your maximum core population is 2.04 billion, and the amount of population that you can core is 33.32 million. Most of people in these white states live in places like Cuba, like Madagascar, Ceylon, Sulawesi in Indonesia, which is not connected to anything, Cebu, which is not connected to anything, but I've seen that on the newer version it's now connected, and also Taiwan. The next country on the list is British Raj. And yes, this is Communist East India Company flag, I know. To get the maximum cores as British Raj, we all know it, you go for Great Depression price controls, then look to the future, and you finish the focus incorporation of the East India Company. And you're supposed to buy up British Raj, and you got this thing right here, and I don't know what were Hoi4 devs smoking. Anyway, once you're done with this focus tree and finish the focus rebranding, you unlock decisions to core Indian states, but most importantly, you unlock decisions to core anything in the world. Well, you first have to buy it, obviously, then you can just core it through a decision. It takes 120 PP, it takes 8 months and gives you 40% consumer goods factories factor. It's a little bit expensive, let's just say that. You also need over 60% compliance, which is just insane. However, through this, you can core any state in the world which has the resistance mechanic turned on. Now, when it comes to the resistance mechanic, it's enabled in all of these states that I clicked on right now, all these black states owned by East India Company. Now, these states owned by Ghana can't be cored by East India Company no matter what, because they have the resistance mechanic turned off, because these are impossible states, and they're home to 2.08 million people. And we come to the last group of states. These states are all these island states, as you can see white on the map, owned by Equatorial Guinea, also Alaska. These states are home to 1.18 million people, and at the start of the game no one cores these states, so their resistance mechanic is turned off. When you hover over here, it doesn't say occupied state, it says colony state. Let me tell you, every single one of these states can actually be cored by someone, and resistance mechanic can be turned on. East India Company can core all of these states with a maximum core population of 2.07 billion people. In other words, they cannot core only 2.08 million people. And the first place goes to many of you expected it, but for reasons that you probably didn't expect. And that's the Global Defense Council, or, you know, Anarchy Spain. If you work your way down the focus tree as Anarchy Spain, you finish the Global Defense Council, which unlocks decisions very similar to that of the British Raj. It's just that you don't get consumer goods, you just need political power, and you need to have low enough resistance and high enough compliance, which once again means that you can only core the states which have resistance mechanic turned on. Anyway, that leads us to the same conclusion. Anarchy Spain, just like with the East India Company, can core every state in the world except for these 17. Which means they have the same maximum core population, so are they ranked above? Well, because that's not true. They can actually core some of these states. Let's not forget that anarchist Spain in their focus tree has this focus called Regional Defense Council of Iberia. What this focus does, it inherits the Portuguese cores. Let's just say add core 1 Portugal. This makes Corsica the core of Portugal. Look at this number changes. They inherit the Portuguese cores. If Portugal goes monarchist, they can core these 8 states, which means that anarchist Spain can actually inherit those cores and get to core these states, even though they can't core them through decisions. However, they're home to only 92,000 people. Let's not forget that if you start the game with the 11th of November preset, Al-Andalus spawns, Al-Andalus can core some stuff in Sahara, and Portugal can inherit all that. And then after that, if you play as anarchist Spain and finish that focus, you'll be able to inherit those Saharan cores as well. At the end of the day, your cores look like this, coring everything except for these white states, with a maximum core population of once again 2.07 billion people. This time not coring only 1.81 million of the global population, out of which less than 500,000 lives outside of the state of Southern Sahara. What if I told you that everything that you've been told in this video was a lie? Well, you would be lied to again. Not everything was a lie, but I did lie a little bit. You see, in this video I told you that no country can core the entire world. Only 3 countries can get close to coring the entire world. One of them is almost the entire world, while 2 of them are almost the entire world. But there's actually more such countries, and more so, there's countries which can actually core every single state in the world. First things first, I lied about Afghanistan and Iran. They have exact same maximum core population, yes, but it's way bigger than what you thought. You see, if you play as Afghanistan and once again go for the Mughal path, this focus right here, return to Delhi, you get to core every single owned core state of British Raj. Okay, so it says and 41 others. Remember, 41. Let's say that British Raj cores Corsica, add core 1 Raj, and we get to own it. It said 41, right? 3 states plus 41. Now it says and 42. Remember, East India Company, they can core almost the entire world, which means that Afghanistan can core almost the entire world with return to Delhi focus. Since Iran can inherit all the Afghan cores, this focus will let them basically core almost the entire world itself. But I decided to include the other answer because it was way more interesting. This one's just boring, you know. Now, moving on to the countries which can actually core the entire world. There's actually 3 ways you can core the entire world. First way is through Slovakia. Slovakia can core the entire world, and this is a pretty easy one. I actually did a War Conquest, a Slovakia video, where I cored like half of the globe, and then I played as Slovakia, and I just killed everyone in like 1943 or something. So the way Slovakia works, any land that you own before Germany finishes Fate of Czechoslovakia, you will be able to core it. So if you literally own the entire world as Slovakia, you could core the entire world. Now obviously, Germany needs to exist, and also Czechoslovakia needs to exist. They can exist either in your starting states or somewhere inside of Austria-Hungary, because keep in mind, you can restore the Austro-Hungarian Empire. But let's just say that we have Germany existing here and Czechoslovakia existing here. If Germany managed to keep enough manpower, which very often they do once they capitulate, by finishing the fate of Czechoslovakia, they get this. Anyway, let's click on this. Set up Slovakia as a puppet state. Germany dies, but Slovakia exists. And they core the entire world. Oh, it's not obvious just yet. Let's unpause for one day. Yep, here we are. 2.07 billion people, not a single state uncored. Slovakia is considered a Slavic country, which means that Poland can also core the entire world. As you can see, proclaiming Slavic unity, the Congressional Kingdom of Poland will be known as the Slavic Union, Corsica, Lazio, Swiss Plateau, and 1,013 others. State is now a core of Congressional Kingdom of Poland. Next up, Soviet Union can technically core the entire world as well. You know how Soviet Union occupied Białystok, this state right here, like Podlaska? But then they handed it over to Poland after World War II, right? Because the eastern Polish border is like flat. It doesn't go like this, it goes like this, you know, it's mostly flat. Well, yeah, there's a decision for that in the game. Basically, if you're communist, and if Poland is also communist, and if they're your puppet, and if you're in faction, you have this focus right here. Return states to United Slavic Soviet Republic. If they accept, gain 5% stability, minus 250 autonomy gain, 5% communist support, Białystok becomes owned and controlled by United Slavic Soviet Republic. If they refuse, United Slavic Soviet Republic state is no longer a core of United Soviet Republic. State is now a core of Soviet Union. Claim gained by United Slavic Soviet Republic. You see how this decision works? it checks for the state of Bialystok and any other state which is owned by Soviet Union but purely core by Poland. For example, Warsaw, only core by Poland. Doesn't apply for Gdynia, for example, because it's core by Kashubia. So if you manage to get the whole world to be purely core by Poland, which is possible, although very annoying, it would take you maybe 20 hours, releasing yourself, annexing the next country, releasing yourself as the other country, you could make all of those states fall into this criteria. You would just need Poland to exist in one of your core states, let's say Mozir. Poland can exist here, you don't care, you core it already. Anyway, you click on this decision, they have to say no, which means they lose their own cores. They just get claims. Yeah, by the way, that's a way they can claim almost the entire world. But instead, Soviet Union gets these cores. You can see they core stuff like this. Anyway, to this, Soviet Union could also core the entire world. The second way you can core the entire world was discovered by me. You know that sometimes, when you win the Spanish Civil War, you look at these colonies, all the Spanish 4 states that are not cored, and you see Republican or even Carlist core right here. I know, I discovered that, and I figured out why it happens. And I even managed to weaponize it in one of my runs to unlock every single achievement. I tricked the game into thinking that I actually won 3 different civil wars in one single run, but I just won one of them. So to trigger this, you have to go for the Compact Quitov and start the civil war. United Nations Front, we will win. Now, either Republican Spain or Anarchist Spain can inherit all of those cores. You choose it by simply killing them the last. If I want the Anarchists to inherit it, I kill the Republicans and then I kill the Anarchists last. Or if I want the other way around, I first kill the Anarchists and then the Republicans. But before I kill the last faction, I need to work my way down the focus tree. I need to make sure that I fuse the parties. But because if I don't fuse them, I still got the impending Carlist uprising. And if I even manage to conquer these guys, the Spanish Civil War won't be over because of this. I gotta make sure that by defeating the last faction, Spanish Civil War is definitely over. So let's banish the party leaders and fuse the parties, and only now, by taking these guys out, is this war going to be over. By over, I mean losing course on like most of our country. That's what I mean by Spanish Civil War is over. Nationalist victory in the Spanish Civil War. Boom, it's over. And now when you hover over here, Spain has Spanish Africa as a core state. Usually they just core these 4 states, but they can core any state that Spain owns before the Civil War begins. So if you could do a war conquest before you start the Spanish Civil War, which I think is possible, probably multiplayer only, for that Italy would have to like do the war conquest in 937, early 937 or something, and then you have to kill Italy or something. It's very tedious, very difficult, but I think it's possible if you delay the Civil War as much as possible. And then you simply just have to, you know, start the Civil War, do the things I did, and then this Democratic Spain or the Carlist Spain would core the entire world except for Iberia. And then they can just core Iberia to the guerrilla decisions. Anyway, that's the second way you can core the entire world. Let's not forget, Portugal can inherit all of the Spanish cores through their Iberian focus. Where is it? Right here, the Iberian Socialist Union, which means that Portugal also can core the entire world. Since Portugal can core the entire world, that means Brazil can also core the entire world, if they go for United Kingdoms of Brazil and Portugal after this. Since they can core the entire world, that means Chile can also core the entire world, since they can inherit the Brazilian cores through Crusade Against Imperialism and Unify by Will. And finally, there is the third way a country can core the entire world. Let's not forget that Slovakia can core the entire world, as I explained it before. I would say that this Slovakia didn't core the entire world. They didn't core Brazil and Argentina. They don't have to. Anyway, let's say that Argentina somehow waged a war against this Slovakia. So much so that they managed to take Bratislava, which moved capital of Slovakia to Tokyo out of all places. Let's say they took that capital as well. Now it moved to LA, then to Amsterdam. Anyway, if you manage to get their capital to be in South America, in this case Santiago, and if you finish the United States of South America while having them as your ally, let's not forget they also have to be either non-aligned or democratic, then the decision will appear right here. Propose integration of the Free State of Slovakia into the United States of South America. And if they say yes, you get to annex them and core all of their cores. After this, you simply have to integrate Argentina as well, and that's it. This way you core the entire world as Brazil as well. And yes, this is the second way Brazil can core the entire world. Chile can also inherit all the Brazilian cores once again, so yeah, Chile has 2 methods of getting cores on the entire world as well. This is super useful though, because this time Portugal didn't have to do anything. This time they can go monarchist, however, and once again core Brazil, coring the entire world. So there's 2 ways for Portugal to core the entire world as well. This means that Republican Spain can core the entire world for the second time if they would go for a Red Iberia. Anarchist Spain can core the entire world for the second time through the Regional Defense Council of Iberia. This means that Nationalist Spain can also core the entire world if they absorb the Portuguese Empire from the Falangist path, or if Chile manages to core Brazil and then they embrace pan Hispanic nationalism. And the best part is, colonists can also core the entire world if they restore the Iberian Union. Since colonists can core the entire world, that means France can also core the entire world through their legitimist path. Because remember, they can inherit all the Carlist cores, and since France can core the entire world, that means that the United Kingdom can also core the entire world through the Franco-British Union. So yeah, this is the maximum core population of every single country as of 19th of November 2025. Yes, this is outdated, and yes, new DLC came out more than 2 weeks ago. I will make a video eventually where I'm going to cover all the new maximum core populations, all the new countries that were added, and all the countries that were affected by this. For example, I think UK was affected by this. I think they changed the population of Taiwan, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I'll cover all of those countries. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Once again, thank you for 40k subs, and see you in the next one. Bye. And if you stayed until now, and no cheating allowed, no skipping. If you stay until now, you're a legend. Thank you so much, and bye.